Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum, the refreshing, delicious treat that gives you chewing enjoyment, presents for your listening enjoyment, Romance.
Romance, bringing you the finest stories of the world's greatest romantic authors. Stories of the courage, the devotion, the adventure of love, all strung on the bright thread of romance. Tonight, the makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you the story of Prince Rudolph of Austria and his tragic love for Maria Vetsera, the story of Mayerling.
To make every day more enjoyable, treat yourself often to refreshing, delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. Here's a taste treat you can enjoy indoors, outdoors, at work, or at play. The cool, long-lasting mint flavor refreshes you. The smooth, steady chewing helps keep you fresh and alert, adds enjoyment to whatever you're doing. Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. Healthful, refreshing, delicious.
Now, here is the first act of The Story of Mayerling.
Rudolph, please. Don't do this thing. It will only add to the talk.
Philip is right. It will make matters worse. Why won't you listen to reason?
The Emperor will be bound to hear of it. The man's a member of Parliament. If it must be done, let us do it.
I've had enough. Enough of both of you. What the devil does it mean to you? Nothing. Besides, you're afraid of the All-Highest, my father, the Emperor.
That's unjust. We're your friends.
My friends? And you speak of justice? Where's the justice for this mudraker Gratz, who rises from his hallowed chair in Parliament and, carefully mentioning no names, proceeds to dwell upon the vice and corruption in certain high places? Certain high places. Does he think me a fool?
Rudolph, wait. Will you listen? Gratz is a politician who seeks to gain notoriety. He has the ear of the commoners.
Philip is right. If you go through with this, it will only lend support to his statements. Don't do it. Let me publish a denunciation in my paper.
And you think that would be accepted, Carl?
As well as your protest by violence.
I hate violence. I'm afraid of it. But I fear moral cowardice even more.
The Emperor is as much to blame. You yourself have said it was his spies who intercepted your letter to Maria Vetsera.
After I have dealt with Gratz, I shall have an audience with my royal father. If you have no stomach for this, leave me alone.
All right. But promise us one thing. That when it is over, you will go to Mayerling. Tonight.
Yes, and that you will stay until it is safe to return.
I promise nothing. Is this the house?
Yes.
Stay here, then. I have no wish to make you suffer for my quarrel.
Rudolph, be careful. If you need us, call.
Yes? Just a moment. Who?
You are Gratz.
Yes. Yes, Your Highness.
You are also a dirty swine. Do you know why I'm here?
Why, I haven't the
I'm going to whip
slightest-
you.
Your Highness, I am in delicate health.
When I am finished, you will be in more delicate health.
It would be very unwise.
Why do you single me out for your scandal-mongering?
Oh, you speak of my words in Parliament. But, Your Highness, I mentioned no name.
There was no need to, was there? You had a letter which left no doubt as to the identity of your target.
Well, these are your words, Your Highness. If the cap fits...
Oh, I...
Thank you, Your Highness. I shall want satisfaction for that.
If I thought that killing you could serve any purpose, I should have done it now. You are like a mongrel who yaps once too often. And, Gratz, I swear that if there is to be a next time, I shall beat you until you howl.
Your Highness,
Yes?
will you present my condolences to your wife, the Princess Stephanie, and my congratulations to Maria Vetsera, your mistress?
shouldn't have done it, Maria. It was a coward's blow. I was the crown prince striking a commoner who for his life dared not strike back.
But he will forgive you.
No. No, he asked for a duel.
Oh, you can't.
If you mean that I shall be afraid and can't, you know me too well. But since I am the Emperor's son, I shall have to face him.
My Rudy, why do you always think of yourself as a coward?
Because I am, and always have been. Were I not, I wouldn't have accepted my father's choice for a wife. A wife who lives in a palace 3 miles removed from my own.
Does Stephanie know about the letter?
She must. Maria, you make it sound as vicious as Gratz and the others.
Oh, you shouldn't have written to me again. No, come here tonight.
Why shouldn't I? I love you, Maria. Because my father finds it expedient for me to marry the princess of another nation. Does the contract assure happiness? Stephanie and I have never loved. I am not a nation. I'm a man.
Rudy, what did you say in the letter?
It wasn't a long letter. I said that I couldn't stop loving you, that I didn't want to.
Oh, Rudy, why can't you see?
I see only this. I must get a divorce from Stephanie. You and I will marry.
No, that letter which fell into the hands of Gratz is only the beginning. The Emperor would never allow a divorce. And if we continue to see each other, we'll be no better than that which we're accused of now.
And yet, if this were an idle flirtation, an affair of no consequence, there would be no accusations. The custom of the court is to allow every excess but that of the heart. Well, it's not enough for me. Maria, I love you. I shall not give you up.
My dearest, what shall I say? I was trying to be wise for both of us. From the day that we met, I've dreamed of something that I knew could never happen. For us. Marriage. Children. Happiness.
Maria.
Oh, yes, I love you. Yes, I shall not stop seeing you. Yes to all these because I'm frightened. Frightened at the thought of my life without you.
Good boy.
Rudolph, I thought you would never return.
What, from an early morning ride? Nonsense. Here, groom, take the horse. Well, what is it, Philip? You troubled?
Your man Loshek has been looking for you.
Oh?
The Emperor requests an audience.
The Emperor requests? Come now.
He knows about last night.
I doubted that it would be kept a secret.
And this note was delivered to me an hour ago. From Gratz. He looks upon me as your second.
A duel?
Yes. And if I know the man, he has sent a copy to the Emperor. Oh, Rudolph, don't you see you have played into his hands?
Perhaps. And it doesn't really matter. Gratz is of no importance now. Nor the Emperor, not even Austria.
Rudolph.
I own to the heart of a commoner. And as such have made my choice. I'm going to marry Maria Vetsera.
Maria Vetsera, I am glad that you brought this up, my son. It has worried me.
If your Majesty will discontinue that tone of paternal solicitude, it will make our discussion easier.
And I find your tone insulting. Later, you may come to me to find forgiveness.
Will you understand that I'm no longer a child? What I did to Gratz last night, what I feel for Maria Vetsera, these are my own accomplishments. They are not dictated by a tutor to an obedient pupil. I am of age, Your Majesty.
I find that hard to believe, my son. Last night, you take a whip to a member of Parliament. Following that, you pay a clandestine visit to the ladies' room.
Your spies keep you well informed.
This matter of Gratz will be disposed of. There will be no duel, of course. But Maria Vetsera, here I see that I must exercise my royal command. It is forbidden, Rudolph, that you see her again.
If I refuse to follow your command?
I shall put a guard about her house. You will find no entrance.
I wish to obtain a divorce from Stephanie, and I wish to marry Maria.
We have been through this before. No.
Your Majesty is aware there is no affection between Stephanie and myself.
There is no need for it. The princess is an admirable woman. When you become emperor, she will be a most suitable queen. Which brings me to another point. I desire that you have children, heirs to the throne.
You desire?
Rudolph, you were born to be a king. The office was not lent to you. It is not to be returned at every whim. If you must adore this Maria Vetsera, then do so. But be circumspect. We can humor such intrigues. I have no quarrel with flirtation. It is your passion which I forbid.
Is it so impossible for you to see as a father that my ways are not the ways of your court? I don't want your throne. Grant me a divorce from Stephanie. Let me marry Maria.
No. You think me heartless. But when you are older, you will know that I was right. You are not to see her again. That is my word.
I shall not obey it.
You will do as you're told. Now, leave me.
Rudolph. Was it very bad?
No. No, Philip. It was very good. The Emperor has taught me what it is to rule with a firm hand. I'm no longer afraid of his dictates. At what time does Graz require the duel?
At 7 this evening, but you won't...
It is against the Emperor's wishes, therefore I shall. Will you act as my second?
Of course.
Few enough that I can trust. It's good to know you stand beside me. Philip, I want you to go to Maria Vetsera. Tell her to be ready to leave Vienna tonight.
Leave? But where can you go?
Away from kings and courts.
What about Karl and me?
You wish to join me?
If you will have us.
You may never see Austria again.
Without you here, there would be little enough that I should care to see of it.
Very well. I rely upon you to take my message to Maria. And Philip?
Yes?
Choose my pistol well for the duel. I have no taste for killing, but I have even less for being killed.
To make every day more enjoyable, treat yourself often to refreshing, delicious Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum. The lively, full-bodied real mint flavor cools your mouth, moistens your throat, freshens your taste. And the chewing itself gives you a little lift, helps you keep going at your best. So for real chewing enjoyment that's refreshing and long-lasting, always keep Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum handy. Healthful, delicious Wrigley Spearmint Gum will make every day more enjoyable.
And now for the second act of The Story of Meyerling, as we return to romance.
Well, Your Highness, it is apparent that your seconds have no inclination to witness the duel.
For reasons of their own, they are delayed. However, I see no reason to postpone the affair longer.
Your Highness, if you desire, and if Herr Graz permits, I should be honored to stand for you.
Thank you, no. I require no second.
Very well. Your choice of pistols, gentlemen. You are familiar with the rules governing the duel? Then, gentlemen, when I give the word, 20 paces. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, Honor is satisfied.
Honor? To whom? I have killed a man.
Rudolph!
Huh?
You must leave here immediately. Our carriage was stopped by the Emperor's guards. His Majesty learned that you had set out for the duel.
Did you take my message to Maria?
Yes. Now hurry. I will explain all to you in the carriage. There will be the devil to pay.
Have you told Carl of our plans?
Yes, he is with us.
Good. Where do we meet?
At Meyerling. You and Maria Becerra will journey there in this carriage. It has been arranged. I shall travel with you. Carl will meet us there.
For my part, I have no desire to stop until we cross the border.
There's no alternative. You must have money and clothing. Carl will see to that. Now that His Majesty has been apprised of the duel, which was contrary to his command, you dare not return to the palace.
How well he knows my every move and action. Is it in the divinity of kings to pluck the thoughts from our brain?
There is nothing mystic in this, Rudolph. His Majesty trusts no one. His spies are behind every pillar and every chamber of the palace. Though how he learned of our complicity in the duel, I swear I cannot tell.
Where is Carl?
Concluding his affairs at home and the business of the newspaper.
These are heavy sacrifices that you make for me, you and Carl. I can offer you nothing but exile.
And we would have it no other way.
Perhaps Spain, England. Loshek, stop the carriage.
What? Rudolph, what is it?
There. In front of Maria's house.
Guards. The Emperor's guards.
He said that. I shall put a guard about her house. You will find no entrance.
I swear they were not there when I saw her 2 hours ago.
Have you a pistol?
Yes.
Loshek, remain here. If we do not return in 10 minutes, leave this place. Forget that you ever drove us here.
Very well, Your Highness. But if you need my help...
Thanks, but you're the means of escape. Stay.
There are 3 of them in front of the house.
We shall scale the wall and attack from the rear. Now, give me a hand.
All right.
All right. Here. Now jump down quietly.
Wait.
There is only the one. Keep in the shadow. He will pass us. Single out cry and you're dead. I have killed once tonight and I'm yet infected. Philip?
Yes?
Bind and gag him well. Then await me here.
Yes. Be careful.
Locked. Maria. Maria, unlock the door. Maria. Oh, Maria. Oh, the night is warm again in your arms. Come away with me, Maria. Quickly, quickly.
I'd lost hope, yet not the faith that you'd come. See, I wear my cloak.
Goodbye, then, to this house in Vienna. For we shall not see either again. Attend to the horses, Loshek. And as soon as Herr Karl Bohm arrives, we shall go on.
Very good, Your Highness.
Welcome to Meyerling, my own. It's been in my dreams that someday you and I should spend our happiness here together. But at least you can say to your grandchildren that you saw the Royal Lodge.
Not because it is royal, but because here, The man I loved spent his childhood. Oh, Rudy, how jealous I am of the years past.
Think only of those to come.
Rudolph, I'm going to see to provisions for the remainder of our journey. We may not find it expedient to stop again.
Thank you, Philip. Night has a chill. Maria and I will build a fire inside. Call us the moment Carl arrives.
I shall.
Rudy, I'm suddenly afraid.
Of what?
This place. This Mirely. Oh, it's cold, unfriendly.
No, you're tired. Perhaps asleep before we go
Hold
on.
me, Rudy. Close.
Yes.
Now it's all right. I'm safe again. I could not live any longer without you.
Let us go inside.
Rudy, are you awake?
Yes,
The fire's going down.
I know. I've been watching you.
Carl should be here soon.
Yes.
Perhaps he'll not come. And we'll wait for him forever. Here by the fire. Quiet shadows flickering. Close together.
Would you mind that very much?
No. Rudy,
Darling?
are people in love always like this? Everywhere.
I think so.
So much in love that no matter what fears and cares lie beyond their embrace, they cannot touch them.
Perhaps.
And when the embrace is ended, and the lovers are apart, is it still the same?
We shall never know that. Because we shall never be parted.
Oh. Rudy, you have a beautiful face.
My face? Beautiful? I'm unshaven since this morning. But if you will continue to think me beautiful, why, I shall never shave. And we must always remain in this light.
I would kiss that face.
I would have you do so. I love you.
Rudy,
What color are your eyes?
you do not know when you speak of love.
They're so changeable. One moment green, then gray. Do they indeed change?
Always?
Now, you must be serious. This is a serious matter.
Why?
Because I'm finding something to talk about now. So that I can enjoy the pain of waiting. Waiting until I kiss you once more.
You talked and waited too long.
Come in.
Rudolph, they're here.
They are...
The Emperor, his guards.
Oh, you lie. They couldn't be. They didn't know.
What dare I tell you?
Tell me what... What have you to tell me?
Carl Bohm brought them.
Carl?
He's in the employ of His Majesty. It was he who divulged all of our plans.
Carl. Oh, no. I can't believe
He's
that.
outside with the Emperor. They took me by surprise.
Escape.
No. The guards are all about the place.
Carl. He was my friend. Carl.
Rudolph, the Emperor awaits you.
Oh, I shall come in a moment. Wait for me outside, Philip.
The embrace is ended, Rudy. The lovers are apart.
I'll send you away. I shall not see you again.
I've loved you very much, Rudy.
And now?
I shall not want to live without you.
Your eyes are gray. How lovely. Maria, if we could stay here by the dying fire, the shadows. in each other's arms forever.
Yes, Rudy.
We would tell each other of our love, our childhood, live each day we have spent together and those that lie before us. Oh, how black your hair is, how soft. What words can I find?
I can wait no longer.
Your Majesty, give them what they ask. It is so little.
Crown Prince returns to Vienna. The woman, Maria Becerra, will leave the country. For your part in this design, because of your royal blood, punishment will be less severe. Now instruct Rudolph that I wish him to come to me.
Your Majesty, I am not one of your paid spies. With your permission, I shall take leave of your presence.
I do not give you leave.
Then, without it, sir.
Now, as his father, I must bring him out myself. Rudolph, it is your father. Rudolph, it is the Emperor. I command that you open the door. Rudolph. Rudolph. My son.
Maria Becerra and I are remaining here, Your Majesty. You see, we are very much in love. We...
Remember, friends, to make every day more enjoyable, treat yourself often to refreshing, delicious Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum. There's lots of cooling, real mint flavor in every stick. And chewing Wrigley Spearmint helps keep you feeling fresh and alert. You feel better, work better, get more fun out of doing things. So indoors, outdoors, wherever you go, keep some healthful, refreshing Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum handy. To make every day more enjoyable, treat yourself often to delicious Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum.
Romance is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and brings you the greatest love stories of today and yesterday. Tonight you have heard the story of Meyerling, dramatized for radio by Anthony Ellis and starring Peggy Weber and Larry Dobkin. Editorial supervision is by John Meston and musical supervision by Alexander Courage. Next week, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum, the chewing treat enjoyed by millions, will bring you another story enjoyed by millions. F. Scott Fitzgerald's charming romance, The Offshore Pirate.
Be sure to listen to Romance next week when the makers of Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you The Offshore Pirate. This is Bob Stevenson speaking, and this is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum, the refreshing, delicious treat that gives you chewing enjoyment, presents for your listening enjoyment, Romance.
Romance, bringing you the finest stories of the world's greatest romantic authors. Stories of the courage, the devotion, the adventures of love, all strung on the bright thread of romance. Tonight, the makers of Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you F. Scott Fitzgerald's charming romance, The Offshore Pirate.
To make every day more enjoyable, treat yourself often to refreshing, delicious Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum. Here's a taste treat you can enjoy indoors, outdoors, at work, or at play. The cool, long-lasting mint flavor refreshes you. The smooth, steady chewing helps keep you fresh and alert. Adds enjoyment to whatever you're doing. Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. Healthful, refreshing, delicious.
Now, here is the first act of The Offshore Pirate.
Larry, shut up a minute and listen to me. And get this straight. We'll be anchored off Palm Beach in 4 more days, and you'd better be there.
But, Dita, darling, how can I leave Boston now?
Why not? Afraid you'll miss Beth's coming out party, or is it that some girl richer than I might be there?
Dita, don't say things like that. You know I love you. And I'd leave here tonight if I possibly could. But, darling, you're just asking the impossible.
With the money I've got, nothing's impossible, you hammerhead.
Dita, how can you talk like that? Have you no respect for me?
Oh, you jerk.
I can't hear you, Dita.
I've got to hang up now, my sweet, and get back to the boat before my uncle misses me. I'll wire you enough money to fly down right away.
Well, all right then, darling. I'll meet you in Palm Beach.
You do that. Goodbye. Poor Larry. He has all the requirements, except brains and manhood. Anyway, it'll amuse me. And it'll make Uncle, oh, so mad.
Yo-ho, blow the man down. Hi there, Jason. Up bright and early, I see.
That's my assumption, sir. So I must confess a total unfamiliarity with this nautical system of timekeeping.
The bells? Oh, it's quite simple, Jason. 4 bells always mean that it's, except, of course, there's, look at that shoreline. Just breathe that salt air.
You forgive me, Mr. Farnham, but I do feel a certain queasiness this morning at the thought of deep breathing.
Haven't got your sea legs yet. Come along. We'll take a few turns around the quarterdeck.
Very good, sir. I'm almost convinced, sir, that a butler should never leave his pantry.
Aye, but you're not a butler while you're on board the yacht, Jason. You're a steward.
Quite so, but there's a remarkable similarity of duties.
I suppose. It's a real vacation for me, though. And to think I might not have done this for years if it hadn't been for, Jason. Is she up yet?
Since 8 o'clock, Mr. Farnham. She's on the portion of the boat which I believe is called the afterdeck, reading a book.
Ardita never reads a book.
It's called Revolt of the Angels, sir.
Must have been the word revolt that attracted her. She certainly has nothing in common with the angels.
One might mention her appearance.
That's a good point. She is ravishingly beautiful. Yes, that's one of the reasons why that Larry, whatever his name is, wants to marry her. Oh, Jason, there's going to be trouble when I tell her I've found out he's meeting her in Palm Beach.
I dare say there will be, sir.
Take my advice, Jason. Never make the mistake of becoming the legal guardian of a lovely young niece with a great deal of money.
I shall endeavor to avoid that pitfall, Mr. Farnham.
Well, no point in putting it off, I suppose.
I've prepared for the eventuality, Mr. Farnham, if I'm not being too presumptuous.
Oh, Johnny Walker, eh? Good. Just a spot, Jason. Straight.
Yes, sir.
Revolt of the Angels, eh? Sounds almost subversive. Oh, thanks, Jason, thanks. Skål. Now, well, I'm off to see the Sleeping Beauty.
Good luck, sir.
Good morning, Ardita.
Hi.
Wonderful morning. Don't you think so, my dear?
How come we're still anchored?
Anchored?
Why aren't we headed for Palm Beach?
Ardita, my dear, you'll never guess who I ran into ashore last night. An old friend named Colonel Morland, who happens to be vacationing here.
Why aren't we going to Palm Beach?
Why? Oh, I thought we'd run on down to Cuba. Say, my dear, the Colonel's son, Toby, is dying to meet you, and I
Now
thought
let
we
him
might...
die, and I don't care what you thought.
Ardita.
I want to go to Palm Beach.
Oh, no, I'm afraid that's out of the question. Definitely.
Oh, what a low-down trick.
Now, Ardita, I know what is best for you. That Larry is a...
He is not. That's only what the newspapers say. And furthermore, he's in love with me.
My dear, he's in love with every woman who has money in her own name.
So, you think money is my only attraction?
Ooh, certainly not. You have, others, of course.
I want to go to Palm Beach.
Now, Ardita, let's be reasonable. The whole purpose of this boat trip was to get you out of Boston and away from that man.
I want to go to Palm Beach.
And now he's followed you south.
He didn't follow me. I sent him the money, and he flew down to Palm Beach last night.
Now, Colonel Morland has arranged a little dinner for this evening, and Toby is looking forward.
Look, I'm 19 years old, and I'm quite capable of running my own life.
Now,
and if you won't sail this boat up to Palm Beach, then I won't stir a foot off of it during the whole voyage.
My
Not
dear,
even if you sail it around the world 5 times.
Now, please, my
Oh,
dear.
don't you please me. Just go away and leave me alone, or say, help me out.
Ardita, put that book down. Now, don't...
Then go away. Go on,
Well,
move.
don't throw it. I'm going.
Oh. You brought it on yourself.
Ow.
Man overboard!
Shall I serve your tea here on deck, Miss Farnham? It's 5 o'clock.
Jason, if this boat sank, I'll bet you'd go floating around in a life preserver at 5 o'clock, serving tea to all the survivors.
What a whimsical exaggeration.
How'd you get to be 5 o'clock? Oh, I must have dozed off. But where is everybody?
They're all on shore, Miss Farnham. Your uncle asked me to tell you he's planning to dine there
Oh,
with...
never mind. I know all about it. Hey, look.
It seems to be a small boat being rowed by a white man and 4 natives.
Oh, yes, but listen.
Local residents, I presume, enjoying their simple pleasures.
Ahoy, the yacht!
Ahoy, yourself!
Miss Farnham, don't you
Oh,
think...
stop being an old poop.
Perhaps it's better that I simply withdraw.
Mind if we come aboard?
Well, of course I mind. This is a private boat. Go away and... Hey, look, what's the big idea?
I'm your jewel tea man, honey. Need any kitchen supplies?
Oh, now look here.
Come on up, boys. Tie the boat to the ladder and get those sacks on board. Hey, boys, let's get going. You alone?
Certainly not. The butler just went downstairs.
Butler just went downstairs. Get that, babe?
Yes, boss. He sure don't know nothing about boats.
Anybody else below deck?
No. Now look here.
You the owner?
I'm the owner's niece. And whatever this gag is...
Gag. That's a good idea. Better find that butler, babe. Tie him up and gag him.
Okay, boss. Tie him up there.
Think the 5 of us can handle a bait?
What?
Oh, sure. She's a diesel job. Nothing to it, boss.
Then let's get moving.
Oh, now look here, Mr. Whatever your name is.
Go on, boys. Get that butler.
How about an explanation for all this?
Well, it just happens that we're fugitives from justice. And it also happens that your yacht was the closest to shore. There's nothing personal, of course.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
Just stay out of the way and you won't get hurt.
What are you going to do?
Escape, we hope.
Oh, look, he's pulling up the anchors.
Naturally.
Oh, but this is crazy. Why, the Coast Guard will pick you up before you get out of the bay.
Want a bet?
But to steal a boat, it's piracy.
That's right.
Oh, you're kidding. The whole thing's a joke. What's that?
They've started the motors.
Full speed ahead.
Oh, but I...
Still think it's a joke? Why don't you laugh?
Jason, Miss Farnham, may I speak with you?
For just a second, Jason. Oh, you're free. Well, what's happened? Is the Coast Guard aboard?
Nothing so fortunate, miss. I have been freed, as you so aptly put it, merely to prepare a late supper. Mr. Carlyle suggests that you join.
Who?
Carlyle. Curtis Carlyle, he told me it was.
Join him to eat my food on my boat.
Well, it seems a bit questionable at the moment whose boat we are on. He and his men have guns, you know.
All right, Jason. I'll join him.
Remember, Miss Farnham, we are completely in his power.
Over here, Ardita.
Ardita. You've got a nerve.
Of course I have. Won't you sit down?
I trust you found everything without any trouble?
Oh, yes. Jason was very helpful.
Oh, you traitor.
Discretion, Miss Farnham, is the better part of valor.
You're so right, Jason. You may as well serve us now.
Yes, sir.
I'm not hungry.
I am, though. You can watch me eat.
Oh, you're impossible.
Good, aren't they?
Where are we?
Haven't the faintest idea. Babe's the navigator. He grew up in these waters.
You don't have a chance, you know.
We've done pretty well so far.
Look, whatever the game is, let's call it off. I have a good deal of money, as you may have guessed, and I'll pay you any amount within reason.
Sorry, but I've already got an amount that's beyond all reason. The problem now is to get away with it.
But if you'll take me back, you'll have more.
That's out. We can't go back. Now or ever.
And why not? What did you do?
Committed a crime. I thought I told you.
But if I gave you a lot of money, you could go back and... Unless you've killed someone.
Quite true. As you say. Unless I, killed someone.
Oh. What's that?
Wake up, Miss Farnham.
Oh, what for?
7 bells at 7:30 a.m.
How do you know?
Mr. Babe was kind enough to instruct me in some of the intricacies of seamanship.
Oh.
When in Rome, Miss Farnham.
Hey, the engines are stopped.
That's why I woke you. It seems we reached a destination of some sort. Mr. Carlyle and his associates are engaged in a process called warping in, I believe.
Jason, I'm going on deck. Hand me my robe, please.
Here you are, miss.
Thank you. Come on.
After you, Miss Farnham.
Did you ever hear of anything so utterly fantastic in your whole life?
No, miss. I can safely say that in all my years in your uncle's house in Grosvenor Square, nothing remotely resembling this ever happened. Here we are.
I'm holding her steady as she goes, Babe. Stand by on the motors.
Yes, sir, boss. Keep throwing that lead, Johnny.
Why, look, it's an island, and we're drifting right into the cliff.
No, we're not. There's a hidden inlet. Babe knows all about it.
Oh, indeed. You seem to have made very definite plans.
We did. Oh, Babe, we're losing way. Start the motors. Half speed ahead.
Okay, boss.
Come up here and take the wheel. You know the passage.
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, there's an opening. It's like a narrow canyon.
Wait till we get inside. There's an anchorage you couldn't even find from an airplane.
Where are we? Well, what's the name of this place?
No name. It's not on the charts. Well, we're going in.
Oh, ghostly. The walls are so high, it's almost dark. It's too narrow. We'll bump the side.
Babe knows what he's doing.
Sure do, miss. Good thing, though, we didn't swipe no bigger boat. Quarter speed, Johnny. Right.
What do you plan to do when you get inside?
Stay there for about a week. A friend of Babe's with a fishing boat is rendezvousing with us.
I mean, what about me?
Well, I haven't decided yet.
Who did you kill?
We didn't wait to find out.
What's in those sacks you brought on board? The loot?
Say, you ask too many questions. Let's just say it's, Florida mud.
Let's go to the stern anchor. Cut the motors. Drop the port anchor. Right.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And well hidden. Nobody could find us in 100 years. Do you, follow me?
Yes.
Well, I'd better help the boys pull her in under the overhang of the cliff. Steward, serve coffee to all hands.
Aye, Captain.
Aye, Captain. Jason.
Well, I must confess, Miss Farnham, I'm getting a bit of a thrill out of this.
Oh, but don't you understand that
But what can we do?
You know, I've never met a man before that I couldn't wind around my finger. But...
Not this one, miss, if you'll pardon my saying so.
Yes, I know. You know something else, Jason? I'm scared.
To make every day more enjoyable, treat yourself often to refreshing, delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. The lively, full-bodied real mint flavor cools your mouth, moistens your throat, freshens your taste. And the chewing itself gives you a little lift, helps you keep going at your best. So for real chewing enjoyment that's refreshing and long-lasting, always keep Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum handy. Healthful, delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Gum will make every day more enjoyable.
And now for the second act of The Offshore Pirate, as we return to romance.
Watch your step, Ardita. This ledge is narrow.
It ends right ahead of us. What do we do then?
It doesn't end. It swings around the edge of the cliff and drops down to a small beach. Wait till you see it.
Oh, look down below us there. I never saw water so clear.
I've named it Crystal Pool. Very original.
Oh, a white sand beach.
Like it?
Oh, it's beautiful. Come on. Oh, well, you know, you'd never suspect it. I name it Lost Cove.
Accepted. Cigarette?
Oh, no, thanks. Why did you do it?
Do what?
Whatever crime it is that you're running away from. What was it? A holdup?
Look, if you throw a rock across the water just right, it skips. See?
You're strange. I've never known a man like you before.
No, I don't imagine.
They've all been from Yale or Harvard and wore medium blue suits and dark blue ties and talked to people about bonds and things.
Sounds dull.
They've always told me how beautiful I was.
You are. Watch. Ah, that one slipped.
I met an older man. He's waiting for me in Palm Beach now.
Oh?
Only it doesn't mean anything. I just wanted to shock the family.
Well, this ought to shock 'em.
I suppose. What are you planning to do if you get away?
Enjoy myself the rest of my life. But you don't mean if. You mean when.
All right. When?
Let's go swimming.
Okay. Only you'll have to go back to the boat and bring me my suit.
I'll have to go back?
Yes.
Honey, aren't you a little mixed up?
Miss Farnham, I took the liberty of bringing your suit myself.
Well, Jason, where did you come from?
The faithful watchdog, huh?
Not at all, sir. Merely pursuing my duties as steward. Miss Farnham, there's an excellent dressing room a few yards away. I took the liberty of hanging up some towels.
Oh, thank you, Jason. I'll see that you get a raise in salary when we get out of this.
You don't mean when, Miss Farnham. You mean if. This way, please.
It's like the boys weren't up there on the cliff at all. Like they were 1,000 miles away.
All right. We'll pretend they are.
You can almost believe that this circle of firelight is the whole world. And there's nobody in it but us.
Oh, I imagine Jason is around somewhere.
Oh, I guess. But you know what I mean.
Sure, I know what you mean. It's like a private world. That's what I'm going to have, too. A private world all my own.
Oh? Where?
Somewhere in the Orient. I know places there where a man with $1 million can buy a throne, become a full-fledged sultan.
With 100 wives?
200.
Oh. And what happens to me? You've had 4 days to think about it. What have you decided?
Well, I think we'll leave you and Jason here on the island and tip off the authorities as soon as we get in the clear. You'll have your boat, food and water. You'll be all right.
Kurt, take me with you.
What?
I said, take me with you when you go.
You're out of your mind.
Oh, maybe, but you are too, so we ought to get along.
Wealthy Boston debutante and a fugitive from justice. Sure, we'd make a great team.
But you're different. You're not like most criminals.
You've never known any criminals before.
I've never known anybody like you. I don't care what you've done or anything.
Say, what's up with the boys?
What do you mean?
Well, something's wrong. Babe's coming down the cliff. Babe, what is it?
Boss, there's a boat coming.
A boat?
Yes, it ain't one we're waiting for either. It's too big.
Oh, somebody's found us. Here, Babe, take that bucket and douse the fire.
All right, sir.
Come on, Ardita. Let's get up to the top of the cliff.
Can Can you see anything, Kurt?
Just barely. They're riding without lights. Apparently intend to lie, too, until daylight.
But do you think they found the inlet?
Probably. They're right in front of it anyway. And Babe was right. It's a big one. Looks like a Coast Guard cutter.
Let's make a run for it tonight now.
Not a chance, Ardita. They'll have a lookout posted, and they're not over 50 yards offshore.
But we could fight. There are 5 of you, and I can handle a gun. Jason will, too, if I tell him.
You've got nerve, honey. I'll say that for you.
Oh, it's just that... Oh, Kurt, you know what'll happen. I don't want them to catch you.
I don't think there's much we can do about it.
But you can't just wait for them to come and take you.
I knew what I was doing. And I'd do the same thing again. I took a chance and lost. That's all.
It's not all, Kurt. I lost, too.
Oh, you'll forget about me in less than a month.
Oh, no. Not in a month or not ever. Kurt, if this hadn't happened, would you have taken me with you?
Yes, I think I would have. It wouldn't have worked, though. It was just a crazy idea.
But fun, I'll bet.
Sure. For a while.
All right. For a while, then. And that's just what we've got left. Tomorrow's tomorrow, Kurt. But we've still got tonight. Oh, does he have to strike the time even today?
Oh, Johnny's very meticulous about his seamanship. Well, it's 8 o'clock and a bright and shining morning.
I wish morning had never come.
But it always does, honey. Babe's coming from the cliff. Something must be up.
Pardon me. Would anyone care for some breakfast?
Oh, Jason, at a time like this?
I'd like some coffee, Jason.
Yes, sir, right away.
What is it, Babe?
They're coming through the inlet, boss. 10 men in a rowboat.
Coast Guard?
I don't know, but they all got guns.
Oh, no.
Well, I guess this is it. I hope Jason hurries with that coffee.
Oh, Kurt, can't anything be done?
Afraid not, honey.
But suppose I say I told you you could take the yacht.
It wouldn't change what happened before that.
Guess they're coming round the bend, boss.
Well, they'll put handcuffs on you and they'll... Oh, I'm going below. I'm not going to cry.
She sure some girl, boss.
Yeah, babe, she sure is.
Ahoy, the yacht!
Ahoy yourself.
Now, stand by, boys. I'm coming aboard.
Come ahead. How are you, Mr. Farnham?
Fine, Toby, my boy. And it's certainly good to see you.
Where's Dad?
Stayed on board. Be along later. He absolutely refused to get up this time of morning just to see a young girl throw a conniption fit.
And don't think she won't, Mr. Farnham. Furthermore, you misled me.
What?
Why, she's wonderful.
Oh, not you, too. Why, the idea was to tame her, not to fall for her.
Well, I guess it sort of backfired.
Yes, your coffee, sir. Good morning, Mr. Farnham.
Well, Jason, you're looking fine.
I never felt better, Mr. Farnham. Would you care for some coffee?
Don't mind if I do, Jason. Toby, how did Captain Babe and his crew work out?
Fine. I've got a date to go after sailfish with him when we get back.
And you'll get one, too, when you fish on Captain Babe's boat.
I'll bet we do.
Well, I'm glad to know that everything has worked out so smoothly.
My dear.
I see you're not wearing any handcuffs, Mr. Carlyle.
Well,
His real name is Toby Moreland, Ardita. He's the young chap I wanted to...
Oh, shut up.
What?
There wasn't any holdup, right?
Well, no, there wasn't. You see, the whole thing
It
started
was all
out
a fake, a bunch of lies from start to finish.
all except last night. Honey, I met everything...
Don't you call me honey, you phony.
Ardita, please.
I hate you. Do you hear me? I hate you.
Oh, honey, wait. Listen to me, please.
Sir?
What is it, Jason?
May I suggest a cooling-off period might be in order?
Oh, a good point.
And that a propitious moment might be found shortly after dark tonight, on the afterdeck, perhaps, and the stars?
Jason, I'm way ahead of you. Ardita? Ardita?
Oh, go away.
Oh, there you are. I'd like to talk to you.
I said go away.
You won't even listen to my side of it?
No.
Well, then, suppose I tell it to this deck chair. Now, Miss Deck Chair, It all started once upon a time, last week, in fact, when Mr. Farnham came to dinner at our house and said he had a nice niece who was willful and spoiled and ill-mannered, and who needed to be taught a lesson. However, he forgot to warn me that she was beautiful and adorable, and that I'd fall in love with her.
You're lying.
Well, a talking deck chair.
Oh, you idiot. Are you
Are I what?
in love with me?
Completely.
Oh, well, isn't it a little ridiculous to tell it to a deck chair?
Ardita. Darling,
Oh, Kurt.
it's Toby.
That's right. Oh, you rat.
Is it all right to be just Toby instead of a glamorous criminal?
I don't know. Does that mean you won't capture me anymore?
Suppose I answer this way.
Oh, Toby.
Well, what do you think?
Oh, I think you will. Lots of times.
Remember, friends, to make every day more enjoyable, treat yourself often to refreshing, delicious Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum. There's lots of cooling, real mint flavor in every stick. And chewing Wrigley Spearmint helps keep you feeling fresh and alert. You feel better, work better, get more fun out of doing things. So indoors, outdoors, wherever you go, keep some healthful, refreshing Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum handy. To make every day more enjoyable, treat yourself often to delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum.
Romance was produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and has brought you the greatest love stories of today and yesterday. Tonight you have heard F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Offshore Pirate, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and starring Sammy Hill and Donald Woods. Editorial supervision was by John Meston, and musical supervision by Alexander Courage.
Next week, at the same time, Wrigley Spearmint Gum, the chewing treat enjoyed by millions, will bring back one of your favorite comedy shows, the hilarious and heartwarming Life with Luigi, starring J. Carrol Naish. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Lux Radio Theater, usually heard at this time throughout the year, is taking its customary summer vacation. Lux Radio Theater will return to CBS 8 weeks from now on August 27th. Now, from Hollywood, Romance.
Romance, bringing you the finest stories of the world's greatest authors. Stories of the courage, the devotion, the adventure of love, all strung on the bright thread of romance. Tonight we take you to the wild mountains of Portugal, where two lovers invite terror and death in order to achieve their freedom, as Kem Bennett tells it in his exciting tale, To Live Again.
Maria was never quite like the other girls of our village. They, too, of course, were vital and alive, for such is the nature of the girls of Portugal, but Maria stood out among them, more vital and alive, more intense, and above all, more beautiful. I remember the night she came back from Lisbon. She stood there in the door of my cabin with the lantern light falling on her face, looking tired and thin, of course, but even more lovely than on the day she left.
Joel. Oh, Joel.
Maria.
Joel.
Oh, here, now, stop it. We'll have no crying and carrying on.
I'm not crying, Joel. But it's been such a long time.
A very long time, but now you're back. Maria, this young man standing here, is he...
I brought him here.
Then come in. Close the door.
Thank you, sir.
Joel, This is Alejo Perazza.
I am honored, sir.
Alejo Perazza. You're Spanish, are you not?
Yes, sir.
Well, welcome to the village, Alejo. Any friend of Maria? Here, let me put the lantern down. Move these things off the cart so the two of you can sit down.
Joel. Alejo is my husband.
Your husband?
We were married in Lisbon.
Not here, in the village, where you were born, where your friends are?
Forgive me, but it was impossible, and... Oh, Joel, we're in trouble, terrible trouble. We're running from the police.
The police? But
Maybe I can explain, sir. You see, the police are after me. I'm wanted in Madrid for crimes against the state.
Political?
Yes, sir. The charges are false, but in Spain today, being accused is the same as being convicted. I escaped to Lisbon, but now the Portuguese police have my description and orders for my arrest.
We've been sleeping in the fields, traveling at night, walking. You've got to help us.
Help you? How? You can't hide here. The village is too small. Everyone knows everyone else.
But we were thinking of the old mine.
The mine? Yes, for a few days, perhaps. One can't live in an abandoned mine forever.
True enough, sir. But two might die in it forever.
What are you saying?
We have decided this, Joel, that whatever happens will happen to both of us. Whether we live or die, we'll live or die together.
You see, sir, running away is no answer because sooner or later the police will catch up with us. And we're not going to run any farther.
What will you do then?
Maria tells me you know every foot of the tunnels and working of the mine.
I was foreman there for 15 years before it closed.
Will you help us then?
Maria, the police are not after you. Why have you made this decision?
I love him, Joel.
I see. Very well, Alejo. I will help you. For the rest of that night, while Maria tossed restlessly on the cot, Alejo and I pored over maps of the abandoned mine. It was dawn before we found what we looked for. And even then, we couldn't be certain, not from the maps. We woke Maria. She slipped away from the village to carry out her part of the plan. And Alejo and I took the maps and went into the mine.
Well, the passage seems to end, Joao. There's a pile of blue shale here.
Good, there should be. Turn the light here. Yes, here's the mark of the contractor. This is the one.
What's the distance?
10 meters, according to the map.
10 meters. It's not going to be easy, Joao.
Easy? Nobody but two desperate fools would even think of trying it.
Yes, I know. Is it far enough back from the
I
mouth?
think so. It depends on how much they use. You can expect a strong concussion, though, unless you're already dead before then.
We won't be. Well, come on, Joao. We've got to bring food and blankets and tools to the mine. Maria should be back tomorrow afternoon.
Tell me something, Leo.
Yes.
How did you meet Maria?
How did I meet her? Well, I was in a park in Lisbon. I'd hurt my hand jumping from a train, and I was trying to wash the wound in the fountain. I looked up and saw her watching me, not saying anything, just watching. And at that moment, I fell in love with her. I think she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. The steady way her eyes look out at you, and the way her hair sweeps back.
Enough of this. You'll still be mooning here by the time she gets back. Come on. I know Maria's beauty, Alejo. I've known her much longer than you have.
Oh, I'm tired. I've never been so tired. But the job is done now, and well done, I think.
How did you go about it, Maria?
Well, I left the car near Castelo Blanco in a belt of trees off a side road. It's hidden, but not very well.
Good. They'll find it all right.
Then I caught a ride with an old man driving a wagon. He was very nice and asked me a lot of polite questions, and I lied to him. I think he knew I was lying.
Will he remember you later when the police inquire?
Oh, I'm sure he will. He took me as far as Castelo Blanco, and I caught the train to Covilla. I tried to look very tragic and mysterious while I waited on the platform. I even cried a little at the ticket window.
Now, the agent will remember you. A girl so lovely crying, how could he forget?
Well, at any rate, it's done, and I'm back. And I'm so happy to see you, both of you.
I was frightened that you'd let the police come too close and be caught.
I didn't even see the police. Joe, how long do you think it'll take them to trace me to the village?
The trail you've given them, they should be near at least in about 2 days.
2 days. Well, it'll give us time to build a barricade here at the entrance and start the work inside. Maria and I will stay here at the tunnel from now on, Joao. We can't afford to take chances.
What madness to talk of taking chances. In what you are doing, there is no chance. I turn sick inside every time I think of it.
Joe, this is no time to talk like that. You said you'd help us.
And I will, Maria. I still think you're stupid, foolish, both of you. Think you're throwing away your lives without reason or sense.
What would you have us do, Joao?
Go to Davalo, one of the other fishing villages on the coast. Try catching a boat to France or America. It's a better gamble than this.
And are there no police in France or America? No, Joao. We will not run any farther. We win here or we die here. But we will not run again.
You're fools, the pair of you. Well, I'll watch the village for the arrival of the police, and I'll come and warn you.
Don't you come, Joao. Send Manuel or one of the other children.
No. Let me carry out my own part of the plan in my own way.
But for you, it's dangerous, and the child wouldn't be suspected.
No matter, Alejo. I should like to see Maria once more before. I'll come myself. There was nothing to do then but wait. My own part in the plan would come later. The village drowsed for the days and slept peacefully through the warm nights. And I spoke to old friends and carried on my life as usual. And I watched and waited. Now and then I glanced up to the gaunt head frame of the old mine and thought of Maria, of the years I'd lived for her and loved her, and the pain throbbed in my heart. Then on the morning of the third day, the Lisbon police arrived in the village.
Stop. Who is it?
Don't be a fool!
Joao, over this way, around the end of the barricade. It's easier.
All right, I'm coming.
The police, Joao. Have they come?
Yes, they came in 2 cars an hour ago. 4 of them, and the lieutenant in charge. They set up headquarters in the mayor's office.
Well, the waiting's over. There's no turning back now.
They're asking questions about Leo Perazza and the girl. They don't have your name, Maria. Only your description.
I know. That will make it easier when you talk to them. If they knew, they wouldn't understand why you were doing it.
I'm not sure that I understand why myself.
Tell me, Joao, who ever really understands anything?
But this folly, madness...
If only madness can save us, then we have to be mad.
I can't stay. They may begin searching the countryside.
You'll go to them as soon as you get back to the village?
Yes. Leo, would you mind if I had a few words with Maria before...
Of course not. I want to check the guns anyway.
Joao, you've been so good.
I did only what you asked. I think what you are doing is wrong, but the decision is yours.
Thank you.
I suppose I shall never see you again, Maria.
Who can say? None of us can ever know tomorrow.
I have loved you, Maria. I love you now.
And I love you, Joao. Now and always.
So be it then.
Here's your gun, Maria. Shoot low and try not to kill them unless you have to.
2 against 5. And they'll bring up reinforcements.
It's madness. You've named it already. We'll see.
Go now, Joao, while there's time.
Yes, while there's time. God bless you, Maria, and take care of you. Goodbye.
Sir, this is Joao Pereira. He says he knows something about the 2 criminals.
What information do you claim to have?
The 2 whom you were seeking. I saw them.
When and where?
I was walking in the hills yesterday and came upon these 2 strangers.
So?
They stopped me and asked questions about the old mine.
Mine?
There is an abandoned mercury mine west of the village, Lieutenant Gargulo. According to his dossier here in the files, this man was a foreman there for 15 years.
I see. Very well, they questioned you. Then what?
When they left, they headed toward the mine. The Spaniard warned me to say nothing to anyone.
Hmm. And what do you expect from this Pereira? A reward?
No, sir. I expect nothing. I'm only doing my duty.
Well, you're the first villager I ever met who thought cooperating with the police was part of his duty.
Some of us have different ideas of duty, Lieutenant. If you like, I can lead you to the entrance of the mine. We drove to the mine in the 2 police cars and stopped them at the foot of the incline below the entrance of the tunnel. I stayed at the cars while Lieutenant Gargulo and the two men started up the slope. They walked carefully, their guns in their hands. They hadn't gone 50 feet.
Well, you guessed it, old man. They are up there, all right. Is there any other entrance to the mine?
The tunnel runs through the hill and opens on the other side. That's all.
No ventilation shaft?
No, only the 2 mouths of the tunnel. These mountain mines are all the same.
Sergeant, send 2 men around to cover the other end of the tunnel.
Yes, sir.
If they decided to fight, this won't be easy. They've got a machine gun and they're holed up. Move the cars back. Take cover, all of you. They don't have a chance in the long run, but one of them a woman. Crazy fools. I got a hunch we're not going to take this pair alive.
Romance, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, continues in just a moment. The music itself is the chief ingredient. Yes, the selection of tunes on Straw Hat Concert imparts a delightful under the stars next to the bandstand atmosphere to this 30-minute program of light airs. Tonight, over most of these same CBS stations, listen for the return of this popular melody show. Your seat will be right under the violin section, if you have your imagination in tow, in full view of the stars, the clouds, and the village green crowds. Be listening for your first Straw Hat Concert just a little later tonight on CBS.
And now for the second act of To Live Again, as we return to Romance.
The opening shots had been fired. Maria and Alejo were trapped in the old mine, while Lieutenant Gargulo and his men watched both ends of the tunnel. And so the first day passed, in the morning of the second. And as Alejo had said, whatever happened now, there'd be no turning back.
What shall we do now, Lieutenant?
I'm going to try talking to him.
Won't do any good, Lieutenant.
You're probably right, but... Sergeant.
Yes, sir?
Flip a few shots at the tunnel while I make a run for those rocks there.
All right, sir.
That's enough. Hold it. Hey, Panazza! We've got you bottled up in there. You can't get away. Come on out and surrender.
He is wasting his time.
And Panazza, another thing. If you kill one of my boys, you'll never live to see Spain. I promise you.
I have no desire to see Spain, amigo.
We'll starve you out in time. That's a slow death.
Very slow. We have a lot of food.
You're fools. You don't have a chance.
You shouldn't stand up like that.
Watch out! Name of 1,000 devils. You are right, old man. He is not reasonable.
You were not hit, Lieutenant?
No, and worse luck for you, Sergeant. Now, there's another odd thing. Either this Spaniard is the world's worst shot, or he's trying not to kill us.
He's facing death himself. Why should he worry whether he kills anyone?
I don't know. I don't understand any of this. And that girl, killing women is always a bad business. I wish the whole mess were finished, done with.
He tried nearly everything he could think of, and nothing had worked, and he was worried. It was almost time to play my last card. Almost, but not quite. Tomorrow, perhaps. I looked up toward the black mouth of the tunnel and thought about Maria and Alejo. I wondered what they were feeling, what they were saying, how they'd pass the night and face tomorrow's dawn.
What time is it, Alejo?
Barely dawn, querida. You know, you've slept nearly 3 hours.
You should have wakened me. You needed sleep yourself.
No, I wanted to be awake. If I know the mind of that police lieutenant, we're about due for a dawn assault. He's tried nearly everything else.
How much longer, do you think?
Oh, today, maybe. Joao didn't want to suggest it until they'd tried their own methods first. I only hope he doesn't lose his nerve.
He won't, Alejo. He loves me.
Yes, I know. Love is a strange thing sometimes.
Do you think it's strange that I love you?
No. I think it's a miracle. Come here, Carita.
I'm not sure I will. You waited a very long time to ask me.
You've only been awake for 5 minutes.
Alejo, what is it?
But it's tear gas. Here, put on this mask, Carita. Hurry. Be quick.
All right, fella, sir. Come on with your hands up.
Come on up and get me! Here's your gun, Maria.
You don't have a chance.
Here I am! Come on up the hill if you want me! Come on!
Good morning, Lieutenant.
Well, Joao, why aren't you up at the mine? You practically haunted the place for the last 2 days.
I went there. They told me you were here. If you will not think it presumptuous, I have an idea.
An idea?
It would not be very difficult to get men onto the rocks above the tunnel entrances. The overhang would protect them.
So?
A few well-placed charges of dynamite at those spots, and your troubles would be over.
Seal them up in the mine like rats. What kind of a man are you? I wouldn't do that to a dog.
It would be the kindest thing in the long run.
The kindest thing.
But look at it this way, Lieutenant. As it is, you're forcing them to sit up there and starve to death, slowly over weeks, perhaps.
They can come out if they will, or he can send the girl out.
They won't, and you know it. They know they can't escape. They are deliberately trying to provoke you into killing them, into making up their minds for them. Why not give them what they ask?
Joe, how much dynamite would be required?
There hasn't been a sound out of them for 10 minutes now. Not a shot.
They've probably gone as far back into the tunnel as they can. Name of a devil, there's no excuse for them. I told them what we were going to do. I offered them a chance to come out.
In my opinion, they're insane.
Who asked your opinion, Sergeant? Well, Joao, what's the story?
Everything is ready at the other end of the tunnel, Lieutenant. The dynamite's in place, and the wires are strung. I have the ends here.
Then let's get it over with. Rotten business.
Are your men down off the face of the rock?
Yes, they're all in the clear. Get on with it, Joao. Connect those wires to the machine and let's fire the charge. Blast ourselves into perdition at the same time, no doubt.
Ready, Lieutenant?
Go ahead.
Maria.
Well, it's done.
Yes, it's done.
I think I'll have to answer someday, Joao, for listening to your advice.
Right and wrong are very difficult things to determine at times.
How long would it take for one to dig through that pile of rock?
With bare hands, a year. And they have air enough for 10 days.
Well, it's done. What's up in the village? Why are they ringing the bell of the mission?
Perhaps they sense there's been a death.
The devil.
Perhaps they're honoring a girl who was very much in love. Oh, it's also for the man, of course. But after all, he had no choice. I think the bell is mostly for the girl.
Hold the tape, Maria. Here, on the contractor's mark.
All right, Alejo.
Right on the mark now.
How far, Alejo?
Oh, no.
far have we dug now?
18 meters.
But Joao said 10. It was on the map. 10 meters from the contractor's mark to the bank above the river. That's why they stopped driving this crosscut. They didn't want to break through to the surface.
Maria, Joao could have been lying, you know.
No. Why should he?
Perhaps he'd rather see you dead than living this kind of life. Love can take a strange turn sometimes.
No. He wouldn't. The map was wrong. He didn't know.
We've been here 8 days, Maria. The air's going bad. We haven't much time.
But we can't give up. We just can't.
To carry a plan so far and then to...
No. Don't talk like that. There's only one thing we can do.
What?
Dig. Dig, Alejo.
All right.
As long as we're still alive. Dig! How far was it, Alejo, when you measured the last time?
23 meters.
So far. It's so hard to breathe. I'm so tired.
Oh, Carita.
Oh, we can't give up, Alejo. We just can't.
It's 25 meters, Maria. I don't know how much longer we can keep. Maria? Maria? Maria, are you all right?
It's no use, Alejo. I'm so tired. I can't go on.
Oh, Querida, stay here and sleep for a while.
Don't leave me, Alejo. I'm going to die. I know it. Stay here. Hold me. I'm afraid to die alone.
If I stay, Maria, we will die. I've got to keep on so we can live again. Now, you rest, Querida, and sleep. Oh, how far. How much farther. Oh, the air. It's bad. We can't keep on much. 27 meters now. How much farther? But the rock is caving. Oh. Maria! Maria, we've broken through! Oh, Maria! Maria, we're free! Maria. Oh, please don't let her be dead. Oh, not now. Come on, Querida. We've broken through to the surface. We'll be free. It's only a few feet to the river. We're going to live again, Querida. They'll think we're dead, and they'll leave us alone. Oh, there now, Maria. The air is fresh, and you're going to be all right.
Alejo.
Oh, thank heaven.
What's happened? What are we doing on? Alejo. Look. The stars.
Come in, Joe. Have a seat.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
And completing my report, you're leaving in a few minutes.
Yes, I've heard.
Pardon me, Lieutenant, but this last item, final disposition, how should I fit it in?
Put presumably dead by entombment as a result of police action. Make 2 copies for Madrid.
Yes, sir.
And get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Joe, I told you before that I had never had a stranger case on this one.
Yes, I remember.
Joe, I sent for you because of an amazing piece of information I've come across. A result of some inquiries around the countryside. It seems that girl came from this village.
Did she?
Her name was Maria Isabel Pereira. She was your daughter, Joao.
Yes.
Why did you do it? You came to me and turned them in. You led us to the mine. You made the plan, fired the charge that destroyed them. Why?
In order that they might live again.
You're out of your mind.
Possibly. But had she been your daughter, Lieutenant, I think you would have done the same.
You see, I loved her.
Romance, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, brings you the greatest love stories of today and yesterday. Tonight, you have heard Kem Bennett's unusual story, To Live Again, specially adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, starring Bill Conrad and Georgia Ellis with Herb Butterfield. Featured in the cast were Ben Wright and Lamont Johnson. Editorial supervision is by John Meston and musical supervision by Alexander Courage. Next week, Romance will bring you one of Jack London's most charming stories, The Marriage of Lit-Lit.
If you're an employer, you might have mixed feelings about having a stenographer like Millie around the office. Audrey Totter stars as Millie in CBS's new Monday night comedy series on most of these same stations. Take a tip from us and meet Millie, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. Be listening next week when Romance brings you Jack London's delightful story, The Marriage of Lit-Lit. This is CBS, the Star's address, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Lux Radio Theater, usually heard at this time throughout the years, taking its customary summer vacation. Lux Radio Theater will return to CBS 7 weeks from now on August 27th. Now, from Hollywood, Romance.
Romance, bringing you the finest stories of the world's greatest authors. Stories of the courage, the devotion, the adventure of love, all strung on the bright thread of romance. Tonight, we take you to the blue waters of the Caribbean and a tropical island ruled by a beautiful woman, as Anthony Ellis tells it in his unusual love story, The Sword and the Knitting Needle.
I found out why February and March are the best months in the Bahamas. Because when I got there, it was July. Nassau was baking in 96 degrees after a hurricane which I'd been lucky enough to miss. I located the office I was looking for and went in. It wasn't any cooler inside, but at least there was no sun. Only a very fat gentleman, very hot and very English, fanning himself with a big manila envelope.
How do you do, sir?
You, Mr. Stewart?
No, my dear fellow. I'm Mr. Watling. Mr. Stewart is the junior partner. Mr. Minges is our America partner. Watling, Minges, and Stewart. Stewart, small print. You see?
Yeah. Oh, my name's Dowd, Daniel Dowd. Mr. Minges...
Oh, of course, yes. Yes, Mr. Minges wired to me that you were on your way. Here, do sit down.
Thanks.
I trust that you had a pleasant trip from Miami.
Yes, fine, thanks.
Where did I put that? Yes, here it is. Now, sir, I assume that Mr. Minges told you nothing.
Nothing. Gave me a check for $1,000 and said you'd take care of me here.
Exactly. Now, sir, let me see. You have a boat, diving equipment, and a crew of 5.
That's it. What's the job?
That is the point, Mr. Dowd. That is the point. I haven't the foggiest notion. Not the foggiest.
Are you kidding?
Allow me. I am a solicitor. I represent the interest here in Nassau of Miss Elizabeth Linden. Now, as you know, Mr. Minges...
I know about Mr. Minges. Please, go on.
Miss Linden owns an island some 100 miles southeast of here, Amos Island. It's exactly here on the map. See? Amos Island.
Uh-huh.
Miss Linden instructed me to instruct Mr. Minges in Miami to hire an expert diver and crew to go to Amos Island. Now, you are an expert diver, Mr. Dowd?
I make a living.
Exactly. Now, sir, did Mr. Minges inform you as to the amount for the task?
No, how could he? He didn't know what was to be done.
Yes, of course. Then neither do I. Miss Linden didn't see fit to confide in me. However, shall we say an additional $1,500 to be paid at the conclusion of your work?
Let's say $1,500 now, and I'll let you know if it's going to be more when I find out what the job is.
Well, I'm not sure if Mr. Mingy...
Look, Mr. Mingy said as far as he was concerned, the whole thing was a lot...
Yes, Mr. Mingy's and Miss Linden do not exactly see eye to eye. I agree to your terms, Mr. Dowd.
Okay. When do you want me to leave?
As soon as possible. Miss Linden doesn't like to be kept waiting.
All right.
Mr. Dowd, you may find Miss Linden a trifle, strange.
Nuts?
Good heavens, no. No, willful, perhaps. Yes. She's immensely wealthy.
Oh, sure, yeah, I get it.
Yes, I don't think so, but you may. Well, bon voyage, Mr. Dowd. Please give my...
You forgot something, Mr. Watling.
Huh?
$1,500. Now.
Oh, by Jove. By Jove, so I did. By Jove.
We got out of the harbor that afternoon, and I set the course for Amos Island. The sea was easy in the night. I took my turn at the wheel and listened to Cookie telling the stars about his troubles. Except for Cookie, I'd taken on a scrap crew in Miami. There was Jack Millard, and he'd done some diving, Pidge Naylor, and Ed Brown. I didn't know much about them, but, well, it was a crew. We sighted Amos Island the next morning at dawn, and a couple of hours later dropped the hook at the east end.
Kind of pretty, huh?
Yeah, good protection here. We ought to be snug. Naylor,
Yeah,
put the dinghy over. I'm going ashore.
okay.
Want me to come along?
Yeah, if you want.
Sure.
Hey, looks like we got a visitor.
Yeah, hold the dinghy.
Yeah. Heading out from the jetty. Looks like a dame.
Now get the ladder over, will you?
Hey, fellas, female type.
Come on, Jack, the ladder.
Okay.
A couple of minutes later, she tied up alongside and came aboard. I remember thinking then that it was funny. Those two West Indian boys who stayed in the launch. They wore what looked like a kind of uniform. But I forgot about them when she came on deck. I guess you could forget about anything with her around.
Mr. Dowd, I'm Elizabeth Linden. Mr. Watling radioed me you were coming. I expected you sooner.
Oh, I'm sorry, miss. We hit foul weather out of Miami.
Before you go ashore, I'd like to speak to you. In your cabin, please.
Okay. Now, watch your head.
Close the door.
It's hot.
Isn't it? The door, please. You may sit down, Mr. Dowd.
Thanks.
Before I tell you about the job, I think that we'd better understand each other.
It's all right with me.
First of all, I own this island.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
I own it, Mr. Dowd, the way you own your boat. When you're at sea, you are the sole government, captain, king, dictator. Is that correct?
If you want to put it that way.
I do. On my island, it's exactly the same. When you and your crew set foot on it, I wish it clearly understood that I am the government. There are no men in command.
Sure. Okay.
Don't humor me, Mr. Dowd. I bought this island because I had to find a place where man almighty wouldn't botch things up, where a woman could have some respect, and not by having babies or washing dishes, darning socks, scrubbing floors, cooking, sewing, changing...
No, I'm not arguing.
I'm glad. That'll make it easier. The job will necessitate your living on the island. Inform your crew that if there is any trouble, I shall have them locked up. I have a police force for just such emergencies.
There won't be any trouble.
You and your men will be confined to your quarters, except when you're working. This island is peaceful and happy. It's going to stay that way.
Miss Linden, what's the job?
There is a deep lagoon on the other side of the island. One of my fishermen discovered an old ship lying on the bottom. I sent a boy down to investigate. He said there was a large bell on the deck. He couldn't stay down long enough to dislodge it.
You brought me out here to raise a bell?
Yes.
That's all?
Yes.
You expect me to believe that?
What you believe or disbelieve, Mr. Dowd, is really no concern of mine.
A bell.
A bell.
Okay. Okay, I'll bring it up.
You can send your equipment ashore. We'll have it carried across the island.
Fine.
I think that's all then, Mr. Dowd. The financial arrangements have been made with Mr. Watling.
They have?
Are there any questions, Mr. Dowd?
Maybe one. How come someone that looks like you shuts herself up in a place like this? And I don't mean that feminist malarkey either. She didn't answer, just gave me a dirty look and went up on deck. It was afternoon before we got the diving equipment ashore and had our first look at the job on the other side of the island. She went with us, and so did 4 of her dolled-up West Indians.
That the lagoon, miss?
Yes, Mr. Millard.
Yeah, it must have been a bay once. Sandbar built up and made a lagoon.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I have some old charts of the island. It was a bay in the early 18th century.
Uh-huh.
We can bring a skiff around and get it over the bar. I imagine you can use it to
Look,
help
Miss Linden, you want me to do the job? Okay, you let me worry about how I'm going to do it.
You'll start in the morning.
If I can, yes.
And we may as well go back if there's nothing else you want to see.
Okay. All right, let's head back.
Mr. Dowd,
Yeah?
if you care to dine with me, dinner is at 7.
What about the other guys?
What about them?
Oh, I get it. Heads of the government only. No peasants. Okay. Our quarters were all right. The huts were native-made, but clean and comfortable. I began to see what she meant about the peace and happiness of the island. It was there, all around. The islanders couldn't do enough for us. But all the time I knew we were being watched. It bothered me, but not for long. The way she looked at that dinner fixed that. And afterwards, sitting on the patio with brandy and coffee, the smell of the sea, the night, and her perfume. I was liking this job. For a girl who didn't think much of men, my employer had a funny way of showing it.
More coffee?
No, thanks. You know something? I think maybe you're human.
I'm sorry. I was rude today. You see, I make it a point to misjudge men when I meet them. Then I don't make many mistakes.
Well, you're lucky.
Men have their place. Don't misunderstand me.
I won't.
You, for instance, Mr. Dowd.
Well, thanks. Am I going to be your prime minister?
You're a very attractive man. I'm not unaware of that. But you see, it doesn't make me turn to a quivering mass of female emotions.
Yeah, I can see that.
On the other hand, I'm a normal, healthy human.
Miss Linden, how long has it been since you've been kissed?
How dare you?
Oh, come on. The dinner, all this, that perfume. Of course, if you want to make a proclamation and issue a command in triplicate, I'll wait.
You're so sure, aren't you? Arrogant, insufferable, swaggering, bumptious, insolent.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, you... Oh, stop it.
Didn't like it, huh?
You may go now.
Listen, just because some guy gave you a bad time or was after your money... Oh, I hit on one, huh? Well, that's too bad. Baby got hurt, so she runs and hides in her own little sand
Will you get
farm.
out of here or must
I'm
I
a man, that's all right, until I start to behave like one.
If you're quite finished...
Trouble with you is you got too much money and too much time to throw it away.
And I'm quite sure that you'd be happy to relieve me of most of it, Mr. Dowd.
Honey, right now I wouldn't trade a bottle of Johnny Walker for any part of you. And after this little party, that's what I need most. You ought to be very happy you're only playing like a man. Otherwise, I'd knock your pretty teeth right down your throat. Good night. Out in the bay, I heard Cookie telling his sad story to the stars. A breeze had come up, and as I walked back to my hut, I felt something different in the air. It was quiet, but there was trouble, too. I didn't know how much until the next day.
Romance, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, continues in just a moment. Have you girls who just graduated from high school made any plans for the fall? If not, Why don't you visit your nearest hospital or school of nursing and inquire about the many advantages open to student nurses? Nursing is one of the finest and most popular professions among young girls, and the opportunities for graduate nurses are many.
And now for the second act of The Sword and the Knitting Needle as we return to romance.
The morning after we arrived, we began work, raising the old ship's bell for Elizabeth Linden. I hoped it'd be a good one because if that's all she wanted, it was costing $2,500. We took a double ender we carried around the island, dragged her over the sandbar into the lagoon, put the air pump aboard, and we're ready. I went down first to look around. Millard and Naylor stayed topside pumping. I hit bottom about 20 feet from the wreck.
Anything down there?
Water. Give me more line.
You got it.
Yeah, she's about a third buried. Almost on her beam ends. You'll have to haul up when I give the word.
Okay. What is she, Dan?
Hard to tell. Might be a brig from her cut.
Any cannon?
How do I know? I start heaving. About 10 feet, then stop.
Right.
I can see the bell all right. Big one.
Can you get in the cabin?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to use a torch on this baby. From the looks of it, she weighs a ton.
Want me to lower it?
No, not yet. I'm coming up first. Let's go. It wasn't going to be as easy as I thought. It'd be tricky work to cut the bell away from the frame, and it wasn't going to be any fun if it fell off the ship to the bottom. How we were going to get the bell up if and when we secured her was something else. I smoked a cigarette and thought about it. That's when Millard said,
We've been thinking, Dan. Pidge, Ed, me.
Yeah?
Suppose there's something else down there.
Such as?
Well, you know, all those stories about the old days in the Caribbean.
Pirates? Treasure? Dream some more.
Why not? That hulk's ours, right of salvage.
Miss Linden found it. The lagoon isn't part of the sea. It's part of her island.
Look, who's to know? So we get the bell up, and if there's anything else...
Is that what's been on your mind?
What do you say, Dan?
Anything down there belongs to her.
It does
All right, come on. Forget it, Pidge. Just forget it. Why, Dan's boss on this job. Aren't you, Skipper?
I didn't like the way he smiled at me when he said that, and I knew that neither of them were forgetting anything. Well, I made a couple of more trips down to get the lay of the land and began to cut away the frame. It took a long time, and I wasn't more than half through when it got dark and time to quit. I told Miss Linden how we were getting on, which took 5 minutes, and was all that I saw of her the whole day. That evening, I ate with the peasants. We turned in early. I wanted to be up with a light, get that bell off the wreck, and start back to Miami. But I didn't sleep. Tried to think of everything else, but it always came back to her. I didn't like the way he smiled at me when he said that, and I knew that neither of them were forgetting anything. Well, I made a couple of more trips down to get the lay of the land and began to cut away the frame. Took a long time, and I wasn't more than half through when it got dark and time to quit. I told Miss Linden how we were getting on, which took 5 minutes, and was all that I saw of her the whole day. That evening, I ate with the peasants. We turned in early. I wanted to be up with a light, get that bell off the wreck, and start back to Miami. But I didn't sleep. Tried to think of everything else, but it always came back to her. For the first time, it bothered me. It wasn't a gag anymore. Needling her like last night. I wondered if she was awake. Crazy, spoiled kid. Remembering the color of her hair, sound of her voice after I kissed her. That's about when the guns went off. I got into my clothes fast, but by the time I was out of my hut, 2 of her boys were already there. They didn't say anything, just stood and stared at me, kind of scared, until she came along.
I warned you, Mr. Dowd. I told you to tell your crew.
Take it easy. What happened?
Those 3 men of yours. They shot at my villagers.
Why?
That's what I want to know. What were they doing? Why were they out of their huts?
You think I put them up to it?
I don't know, but they're under arrest.
Well, maybe one of your boys started it. Ever think of that?
I told you that unless on the job, you were all confined to your quarters. Your crew disobeyed that order.
I'm sick of this. Who do you think you are? Either you need someone to smack some sense
That's
in you...
enough!
Okay. Now call off your SS boys and let's find out what's going on.
We're going to find out. And until we do, you and your crew are prisoners.
You can't do that.
Can't I? Trespassing and assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill. Those are man-made laws, Mr. Dowd. I admit I had a moment's weakness last night. I behaved like a woman's expected to behave. But it was a purely biological weakness. I was right about you in the first place. You're unprincipled, deceitful, and underhanded.
Your slip's showing, Miss Napoleon. Which got me nowhere, because a couple of minutes later, I joined Millard, Naylor, and Brown in what passed for the local judge. It might have been funny hearing a woman talk like that, but she wasn't kidding. And I had a nasty feeling that she wasn't doing any more than she had a right to do. It was her island, and she made the law.
Nuts. There ain't no dame in the world going to push me around.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. What happened?
Well, we were just taking a walk.
Oh, sure. And a gun went off by accident. You may not know it, but we're in trouble. Lots of trouble. Now, what happened?
Well, nobody got hit. What's the difference?
Who did it? Who fired?
I did, and so did you. There was a dozen of them.
What did you go out for?
Take a look around.
Shut up, Naylor.
You want to make me?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, forget it. Well, okay, Dan. We were going across the island. I was going to take a look at the wreck. And...
You still got that treasure bug, huh?
Well, we figured if there was anything, you'd make us hand it over. So, what you didn't know.
Well, that's swell. Now what?
We're getting out of here, that's what. If she wants trouble, she's going to get it.
You figured a way to get out?
Don't worry, we will. And I'm going to get me a couple of those boys before I'm through.
Fine. Wake me up before you leave. Well, there wasn't anything else to do. I knew we were in there for the night anyway, so I went to sleep. Next morning, she sent for me. The other guys stayed where they were, and they didn't like it. I didn't either, because I had an idea when they got mad enough, they could bust out pretty easily. She was having breakfast when I told her how it happened.
That adds another charge, Mr. Dowd. If there were anything in that wreck, would it be piracy or larceny?
I don't know, but whatever you're going to do, you better make up your mind in a hurry. That cracker box you've got us in isn't going to hold them.
If they try to escape, my men have instructions to shoot.
Oh, now, look, they made a mistake. I'll take the responsibility. I'll pay a fine or whatever else you want, but don't start something you can't finish.
I will decide that.
Oh, honey.
Don't call me honey.
You know what that lawyer in Miami said about you, that Mr. Minges?
I'm not interested.
He said some man ought to drag you off by the hair, beat you for a month, and then if you turn into a normal woman, maybe marry you.
Really?
Now, look, you've had your fun.
What makes you think this is fun, Mr. Dowd? You can't believe that I'm serious about all this, can you? Your egotistical male mind can't believe it.
I'm getting sick of this. You're serious. Who are you kidding with that Gilbert and Sullivan army of yours? I know the natives around here. All they want to do is to be let alone. The only reason they haven't been hurt is because my crew isn't mad enough to cut loose. You're just itching for trouble.
You think so?
Yeah, I know your type. Spoiled, nasty brat. When you take the train, a compartment isn't good enough for you. You got to have the whole car. Well, honey, you've got to learn sometime, and now's about it.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. Suppose I take that neck of yours and give it a twist, and then...
I don't think you will. I just have to call
You
and...
wouldn't have time. I can almost reach you from here. What have I got to lose?
Sit down. I have a gun.
So what? Maybe I don't believe it's only a bell down there in that ship. Maybe it's something else, something worth fighting over.
I told you it was only the bell I wanted.
All the more reason to kill you. That makes me mad.
I'm warning you. Stay away.
Go ahead, shoot.
Mr. Dowd.
Go on.
I'll call for help.
Why? You've got a gun.
Get away.
You want to play like a man? This is your big chance. You're going to kill or be killed.
You wouldn't.
Sure I would. Give me that.
Oh, no.
Now, let's come down to earth. Sure. Sure, that's better.
You don't understand. I'm crying because I hate myself for not shooting you. For being a woman.
It doesn't make me mad.
Go away. Take your crew with you. Take your boat. Go away from me.
Miss Linden, they have escaped. They beat John and running me down the head and took their guns. Miss Linden, what shall we do?
It doesn't matter. Tell the others to stay out of their way.
Decline and fall of the Linden Empire. Or maybe it's like a lifesaver with only the hole left.
Please go away. Please.
After seeing the behavior of one of her elite guards, I wasn't too worried about our safety, but I was worried about theirs. So I went out to look for Millard, Naylor, and Brown. I figured they wouldn't shoot up the place just to get even, but I didn't want to take any chances. There wasn't a soul inside as I passed through the village. I found them where I knew I'd find them, in the middle of the lagoon. Naylor and Brown pumping like mad, Millard on the bottom looking for buried treasure. Hey, the war's over. Did you find your treasure?
Jack's found something in the cabin, all right, and we're taking it with us.
Not on my boat, you're not.
No kidding, Dan. We'll cut you in. Split 4 ways.
You can keep it, but you'll stay on the island. I'm sailing without you.
Hey!
When I hit Nassau, I'll send a police boat out to bring you in for mutiny and piracy. So long, fellas.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Skipper. Wait.
For what?
Oh, we were only kidding. We wouldn't keep it.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't. Throw your guns overboard.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Now wind up Millard. I'm coming out. By the time I paddled the little dugout over to our double-ender, Millard was out of the diving suit, and the three of them were looking at a small chest he'd brought up with him.
What do you say, Danner? I say the girl's loaded. What's a few bucks more, huh? Think what we could do with it, huh?
Nothing doing.
I'm sorry, Skipper. We say yes. Drop your gun.
Where'd you get that?
I got it. You want to find out if it shoots? Just try some.
Yeah.
Drop your gun.
You want to play pirate, you know what happens when we get back to the mainland.
Who said we're going? Look, this is kid stuff. What do you care about her? We don't want trouble. If a guy gets one crack in his life at a thing like this, we could all buy a dozen islands like this.
I'm not arguing. It's your deal. Go ahead. Open it up.
You're in with us?
No.
Come on, Millard, open it. Nuts to him.
Well?
Holy smoke.
Beads. Was nothing but millions of glass beads.
Holy smoke.
Yeah. What happens now?
Beads.
Well, it figures. Trade with the natives, big thing in those days. You want to give me the gun, Millard?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure, Skipper.
Hey, Skipper, we were only kidding.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Well, what are you going to do?
Fine you $50 apiece and forget it. Now, what do you say we get that bell up and head back for Miami? We got it up that afternoon. There's nothing else in the hunk except those beads. I guess whoever sank it took everything about 200 years ago. Before we left Amos Island, we got the villagers to help us put the bell up. That was Millard's idea, to kind of square things with Her Majesty and maybe me. And that's about it. Of course, I'm kind of glad about that bell. It comes in handy at certain times.
Dinner, darling, hurry up.
Be right there, Liz. And she makes a good wife. Knits, sews, cooks, has babies, washes diapers, dishes.
Romance, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, brings you the greatest love stories of today and yesterday. Tonight you have heard The Sword and the Knitting Needle, specially written for romance by Anthony Ellis, starring Hy Averback and Virginia Gregg. Featured in the cast were Ben Wright, Howard McNear, and Jack Crucian. Editorial supervision is by John Meston, and musical supervision by Alexander Courage. Next week, Romance will bring you one of Neil Peterson's most exciting stories, The China Run.
As part of CBS's extensive scheduling of important special events, tonight over most of these same CBS stations, the comedy program Meet Millie will be canceled, so you may hear an address by Defense Mobilization Chief Charles E. Wilson. Charles E. Wilson's address will be titled The Importance of Continuing Our Defense Policies. CBS invites you to hear this program next over most of these same stations. Be listening next week when Romance brings you Neil Peterson's The China Run. This is CBS, where Operation Underground is packed with thrills Tuesday night on the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum, the refreshing, delicious treat that gives you chewing enjoyment, presents for your listening enjoyment, Romance.
Romance, bringing you the finest stories of the world's greatest romantic authors. Stories of the courage, the devotion, the adventure of love, all strung on the bright thread of romance. Tonight, the makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you Neil Patterson's unusual story, The China Run.
refreshment while you work, for enjoyment anytime, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. The delicious, long-lasting, real mint flavor of Wrigley's Spearmint cools your mouth and freshens your taste. The good, smooth chewing helps keep you feeling fresh and alert. Adds enjoyment to whatever you're doing. So indoors, outdoors, at work or play, enjoy chewing Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. Wrigley's Spearmint. Refreshing, delicious.
Now, with Peggy Weber starred as Jane West, here is the first act of The China Run.
Let me tell you, the sound of the sea is a wonderful thing. Maybe there's a sonnet sweeter than the wind in an arching sail, but I don't know it. There may be a symphony grander than wild waves lashing, but I've never heard it. There is no lovelier sound than a bellbuoy in the bay when the sailor comes home from the sea. This is what I've heard, and I think it's true.
Come in.
Good evening, Father.
Good evening, Father.
Come in, come in. You too, Jane. Although I didn't expect you. I wanted to see Miss Hahn.
And I'm only a daughter. Nice to know I'm accepted, even if I am a woman.
A woman? A child of 16, and she
That's
calls
enough,
herself
James. I want to talk to you.
I know, Father.
You know.
It's been the same these past 10 years, ever since I was 20. You've come home for a month, I do believe, only to talk me into shipping out with you.
But, James,
And the night before you sail, you try again, just like tonight. Really, Father, it's a bore.
Then it's no use?
Of course not, Father. I don't know why you persist.
Because I'm a seaman, I guess. I'm master of a ship, a good ship. I want Miss Hahn to succeed me after I...
You're so sentimental, Father. But someone must stay ashore to tend the ship's business.
You prefer a London counting house to a sailing ship?
A sailing ship is like a jail, with a chance of getting drowned. And a sailor, well, a sailor's a beast of burden.
There's nothing I can say.
Good night, Father. I'll see you tomorrow before you sail.
Father?
Yes, Jane.
Father, I want to go with you.
Yes, yes. What?
I want to go to sea.
You... But you can't, Jane. You're a girl.
It's 1845, Father. The world no longer belongs exclusively to its males.
Oh, the hazards are too great aboard a cargo ship. I have no facilities for passengers.
I've no intention of being a passenger.
Oh, but...
I mean to be a sailor.
Jane, you're a girl.
I'm as good as any man and better than some.
Your brother now. I can't make him go to sea.
You can't make me stay ashore.
But the storms, the discomfort...
I want to go to sea.
The sickness and death.
I've got to go to sea.
But the China Coast pirates...
I must, Father, I must.
Well, I'll be a laughing stock if Tansy McCoy finds out.
Who's Tansy McCoy?
A miserable Yankee. The vilest skipper on the China Run.
Sounds like a competitor.
He's the rankest man that ever offended my nostrils.
Why worry about him?
All right. All right, but...
No more buts, Father.
But what will my crew say?
Let me tell you, the crew said plenty. The crew of a windjammer is always wet and always numb from lack of sleep, for the wind and the weather wait for no man, and sails are constantly changed. The work on a windjammer is endless, but the men find time to talk, and talk, and talk.
Leave alone, and that's what it is. A woman aboard.
It wouldn't have happened on a Yankee ship.
Fancy a Yank like Tansy McCoy suffering a lady aboard.
More like a witch she is, standing on the lee side of the poop.
Aye, bosun. But a handsome witch.
Aye, and always we a question.
Well, she'd better ask questions. She don't know Ed from a million.
But she will. She will. Her tongue is sharp and it's shaped like a question mark.
She should be ashore and married.
You're the kind of man she needs gonna be found ashore. She needs a man like Tracy McCoy. He'd answer a question.
Bosun!
Yes.
I've been watching the wind in the lower maintop gallant sail and the upper maintop sail.
The studding sails, ma'am. The maintop gallant and the maintopsail form the studding sails.
Yes. Anyway, they're always shredded at the lips. Why couldn't they be reinforced?
Reinforced, ma'am. With what?
You tried wax? If you wax the yarn, might not cut the sail.
Aye, but who has wax?
We have tallow dips in the lamps. Might try that.
Hey, ma'am. I think I might.
Aye. The crew had plenty to say, and so had the ship's officer.
Mistress West is uncommon handy about the ship.
Aye, Mr. Jordan. Even in weather.
Aye, Mr. Hammond. Even in petticoats. Wait till Tansy McCoy gets a look at them.
Don't worry about McCoy. Just worry about your berth as second mate. I believe she's after it.
Begging your pardon, sir, but she's after bigger game. Your berth as first mate.
Nonsense. It takes years to master navigation alone. Even I have much to learn about navigation.
I passed her cabin this morning, and I happened to glance through the porthole. She was reading.
A novel, I suppose. Some fluffy, romantic novel.
She was reading the memoirs of...
A French actress?
A British admiral called Advanced Principles of Navigation.
Evening, Captain. Mrs. West.
Evening.
Gentlemen, please be seated. What do we have for supper tonight?
The same as we had for dinner.
Cold harness beef and black bread.
This is preposterous. Why, George Simpson is the best cook ever to sail with me.
He was, sir.
You talk like he's dead.
Yeah, he will be soon. He came down with smallpox this morning.
Oh, he's in considerable pain. Blisters have already appeared on the soles of his feet.
Well, get a razor and cut them off. That's the usual procedure, is it not?
Well, it is for anyone but George Simpson. He won't let us near him.
Oh, he's a giant of a man, sir.
I'm aware of his stature, Mr. Jordan.
But he's in a corner of the forecastle with a belaying pin in one hand and his own razor in the other. He's promised to use them on the first man who comes near.
Yeah, man, that obstinate deserves to die.
Father?
Yes, my dear.
May I be excused?
Yes, of course.
I'm sorry, sir. My stock of smallpox and blisters and razors were perhaps too strong for Mistress West.
If she wants a sailor's life, she must get used to sailor's talk. Till she is a little more...
Simpson? Simpson.
What do you have there?
Bolt of canvas. Going to measure you for shroud.
Oh.
There. Now all we need is the sinker.
Miss, I don't want to die.
Going to, Simpson. Then we'll drop you over the side and the fishes will eat you.
No. Miss, you cut off the soles of my feet.
Then give me your razor, Simpson. Thank you.
Just you let me holler, miss, because I don't hold with pain.
It'll be painless. Just let me have your belaying pin. That's right. Simpson, I'm going to tap you on the head with it, lightly. Just hard enough to keep you from feeling the pain. Now, whenever you're ready.
Go ahead, miss.
All right, Simpson. Let me tell you, that day was long remembered. And the men gathered round the scuttlebutt. They talked of it with wonder.
She's yar, that gal. And a demon with a belaying pin. Aye, Simpson?
A blind fish sailor, she is. I'm that proud of the lump on me head. Oh, it's like them decorations.
Oh, but she done but decorate. Guts she's got. Ain't salt water in her veins.
And so they talked. All of them, that is, save Mr. Hammond. And he was soon to learn.
What's the reading, Mr. Hammond?
Right on, sir.
Can we make Borneo by morning?
Yes, sir. If I may say so, you fix the longitude correct to a hair's breadth.
And in the gale with one star poking out of the cloud bank for not more than 3 seconds. You have, sir, a genius for precise navigation.
I'm sorry to disabuse you, Mr. Hammond, but the calculations were made by my daughter. Good evening, sir, and enjoy your shore leave in Borneo.
Let me tell you, there's nothing so wondrous strange as your first leave in a foreign port. And there's no port so strange as Borneo, where 30-foot snakes and 6-foot anteaters and deer no bigger than jackrabbits wander into town to look at the people. And the people themselves have certain quirks, like bathing every day.
Stay close to me now, ma'am. It's a rough crowd in a port like this.
Really, Mr. Jordan, I can manage without your protection.
Your father's orders, ma'am.
Nonsense. I've got my belaying pin.
Sorry, Mistress West.
And the sounds of Borneo are strange. The tiny deer I mentioned before have a habit of barking like dogs, and a Burmese man plays a bamboo flute. A fact of no interest whatsoever, except that he plays it with his nose. But the strangest sound of all came from an outdoor saloon. Who's that?
That's Captain Tansy McCoy.
Who is this Captain Tansy McCoy?
I don't rightly know. Some say he's wild and dissolute, like little better than a pirate. And some say he's the finest Yankee skipper that ever drove a ship.
And what do you say, Mr. Jordan?
All I know is he carries a cannon mounted on the forepeak.
He sees us. He's coming toward us.
Well.
And who, sir, are you staring at?
The lady, sir. The lady. Ooh. And a trim ship she is. And she looks to be running free.
That's enough, sir. One more insult and I'll be forced.
You're forcing me first. Now, my pretty lass.
Take another step.
Oh, how I love a lass with juice and growl.
I'm warning you.
Worn away. Oh, now you wouldn't hit me with that belaying pin?
Of course I wouldn't. And that's what happened, Father.
What about Mr. Jordan?
I left him with some missionaries. His jaw was broken.
And McCoy?
I left him on the ground. I think I might have killed him.
Good riddance. What did I do for a second mate?
Father, I'd like Mr. Jordan's berth.
I don't know.
You do know.
I wonder.
You know I can handle it.
Of course you can. But I wonder if you didn't plan it all, just to get Jordan's berth.
Let me tell you, there's no prouder lot than those who follow the sea. And the proudest time of all is the time of your first command, especially with the challenge of a race. Helmsman! Top point starboard!
All right, sir. Ma'am. Beg your pardon.
It's all right, Helmsman. You'll get used to it.
Mistress West, that ship up the storm quarter is still coming up fast.
Let the helm drop off another point.
All right, sir.
What's the commotion, James?
Ship, Father. Take a look through the telescope.
Yankee Clipper.
With a cannon on the forepeak. It's Tansy McCoy's ship.
Well, if it's a race they want, we'll give it to them. Bosun! Loose the cannon! Loose the cannon!
The Yanks still gaining, Father.
Bosun, can't you set more sail into the royal?
Captain, we've set everything. We're just accepting the second mate's petticoat.
It's no use, Father. It's hard upon us. Hang alongside.
Without the trouble, he's going to find it.
McCoy, Father, I didn't kill him after all.
Speak up, you Yankees. Come, Captain West. I want to marry your daughter. Never! Not for £1,000. Too much, Captain West. But I'll give you 100. Why, you blocked Careful, Captain. You're a lady aboard. She is a virgin.
For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment anytime, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. When your mouth feels dry, when you're warm or tired, Wrigley's Spearmint is really refreshing. The lively, full-bodied, real mint flavor cools your mouth, moistens your throat, freshens your taste. And the chewing itself gives you a little lift, helps you feel your best and do your best. So for chewing enjoyment plus pleasant refreshment, chew delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Gum.
And now for the second act of The China Run as we return to romance.
Let me tell you about the Philippines. More than 7,000 islands falling like spilt pepper into the China Sea. Sort of an interesting place, where a lot of people prefer roast dog or fried locust to any delicacy you could name. It's a place where nobody looks at an orchid, possibly because more than 900 varieties grow wild. In Manila, they make the world's best spittoons and go to a university called Santo Tomas, which was founded in 1585, a half-century before Harvard. Manila's an interesting sort of place, but it was there that the trouble began.
Wilson, secure that cargo line before somebody gets hurt. Aye, aye, sir. Not like that. Let me show you. Careful, sir. That mahogany timber's heavy on pig iron. All the more reason for safety, better. Captain West. Easy, man. Your father's hurt. He's hurt bad.
Mistress West.
Yes, Mr. Hammond?
The cargo's been stored, Mistress West. I checked the manifest myself.
Very good, sir. You hired a third officer?
I did. An Englishman on the beach 2 years and happy to catch a breath home.
You've been a great help, Mr. Hammond.
I'd like to do more, Mistress West. Much more.
Mr. Hammond, since my father's death, there's no longer a reason for your calling me Mistress West.
I've been wanting to call you Jane for a long while.
You're jumping to conclusions. Please address me as Captain West.
Captain?
I'm taking command of the ship.
But I have a master's papers and seniority. I'm the first officer.
And you shall continue to be so, as long as you carry out your duties. Now set the watch, Mr. Hammond. We're sailing for Fu Chao.
Aye, aye. Captain West.
Now, Fu Chao is a river port, rich and stinking. The stench comes from the River Ming, from the mortal remains of merchants murdered and consigned to a wet grave by the river pirates. Its wealth comes from the illustrious tea of the hinterland. All day long, the buffalo trains converge on the city, bearing tea in lacquered chests. And all day long, among the reefs and the shallows, the pirates wait for a likely ship. What is it?
Mr. Hammond's compliments, ma'am. He'd like you on deck at once.
Very well. What now, Mr. Hammond?
That ship off stern. It's Tansy McCoy, just like 2 weeks ago.
This time, Mr. Hammond, the result will be different. I mean to clue up and to send Fu Chao before him.
Captain West, this ship cannot outsail a Baltimore clipper.
We won't outsail him, Mr. Hammond. We'll outsmart him. We'll bear toward shore as we round the Cape, half the distance.
But the pirates! They'll take the cargo and hold you for ransom.
You afraid, Mr. Hammond?
Listen to me. I served once with a captain whose wife they took. They finally returned her, finger by finger.
I'll worry about my fingers if you'll proceed with my command.
Aye, Captain West.
We're holding our lead.
That's small consolation, Captain West. Look forward, up the bow.
Let's jump.
24 of them, each man by 20 men. They're pirates, Captain West, and they're heading for us.
Swing back to mid-channel.
We can't get by them. 2 more minutes and they'll be aboard.
They'll never take it.
Closing in now.
We'll ram them.
It won't help. Nothing will help.
It's McCoy!
On the lead junk!
They're scattering!
Captain West! McCoy's moving up alongside.
Mr. Hammond, the megaphone.
Hey!
Save your breath, Captain West.
My thanks to you, sir.
Save your thanks for Fu Chao. Will you meet me at the King Henry? Will you, Captain West?
Maybe. Captain McCoy.
I'll be waiting, Captain West.
How's the cargo moving, Miss Hammond?
The tea's in the hold and everything's squared away.
Well, then I think I'll take a look at Fu Chao. I might not be back for supper.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Mr. Hammond, perhaps you can direct me to the King Henry.
Go right up.
Mistress West?
Yes?
Please accept my condolences for your father, Mistress West. I'm at your service, sir. If there's anything I can...
Who are you, sir?
Oh, Barron's the name. George Barron, local agent for the ship. And now, if you'll permit me, I have business with your captain. Who is your captain, Mistress West?
I am.
Oh, I see. I beg your pardon.
I said I'm the master of the ship.
But a girl like you, you obviously don't have master's papers.
No.
Then the insurance will be revoked, and the cargo will be jeopardized. Well, the ship must be handed over to the first officer immediately.
Don't tell me how to run my ship, Mr. Barron.
I'll tell you this, madam. Unless your first officer takes over immediately, I shall notify the British consul, and you'll not get clearance papers. You'll rot in Fu Chao till your command is confirmed by London. And that will never happen. Good day,
You were asking me about the King Henry, Captain West.
Belay that, Mr. Hammond. We're sailing.
Sailing? But you heard what he
We're
said.
sailing immediately for London. Let me tell you, it's a sorry thing laying a ship to harbor for the last time. Never again to go down to the sea in a British ship.
But it's impossible. Preposterous.
James, it wasn't impossible. I brought the ship home.
Without papers, without clearance. Oh, what a risk.
I could get master's papers with your consent.
Perhaps. But there are other considerations. You risked your reputation and our good name to dally with some Yankee skipper.
I did not.
You were to meet him in Fu Chao.
So Hammond's been talking.
And you risked the cargo with pirates by racing the Yank up the Ming. I am afraid the Admiralty would consider you an unfit person to represent the Crown on a trade ship. And you're a girl, Jane.
I'm a woman.
But a woman cannot hold a position of authority over men. It's against nature.
And so it went. Months of wrangling, months of sitting by the window in silence, watching the gulls and the ships and the Thames. Plenty of time to remember the things that could never be forgotten. There was Jordan, the second mate.
Mistress West is uncommon handy about ship.
And Simpson, the cook, giant of a man.
A flying fish sailor, she is.
And the boatswain who taught of studensels.
Aye, give yar, that gal. And a demon with a belaying pin.
And Tansy McCoy, a wild and dissolute man.
Trim ship she is. And she looks to be running free.
Then one day in September, yes,
My compliments, Captain West.
Captain McCoy.
I waited for you in Fu Chao. You never came.
I know.
Then I learned the reason, Captain West. So I came to you, 5,000 miles with a log.
Isn't that wonderful?
There's just one thing, Captain West. There's only one master of my ship. That's me.
Yes, Captain McCoy.
But I'd be proud to make you mistress of it.
Captain McCoy.
I could use a good first mate who's handy with a belaying pin. Captain West, will you marry me?
I...
Oh, Jane. my darling.
Let me tell you, the sound of the sea is a wonderful thing. And the wind in an arching sail is sweet. But not half so sweet as the soft words spoken by the man you love. This is what I've heard. And now I know it, sure. Sure as my name is Mrs. Tatsy McCoy.
Remember, friends, for refreshment while you work, for enjoyment anytime, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. There's lots of lively, real mint flavor in it to cool your mouth, freshen your taste, and sweeten your breath. And chewing Wrigley Spearmint helps keep you fresh and alert. You feel better, work better, get more fun out of doing things. So indoors, outdoors, at work or play, always keep delicious Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum handy. For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment anytime, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum.
Romance is produced and directed by Norman McDonald and brings you the greatest love stories of today and yesterday. Tonight you have heard The China Run by Neil Patterson, specially adapted for romance by Millard Kaufman, starring Peggy Weber and John Daner. Featured in the cast were Jay Novello, John Stevenson, Lou Krugman, Ben Wright, Paul Frees, Lamont Johnson, Bruce Payne, and John O'Malley. Editorial supervision is by John Meston and musical supervision by Alexander Courage. Next week, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum, the chewing treat enjoyed by millions, will bring you another story enjoyed by millions. Prosper Mérimée exciting classic, Columba.
Be sure to listen to Romance next week when the makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you Columba. This is Bob Stevenson speaking, and this is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum, the refreshing, delicious treat that gives you chewing enjoyment, presents for your listening enjoyment, Romance.
Romance, bringing you the finest stories of the world's greatest romantic authors. Stories of the courage, the devotion, the adventure of love, all strung on the bright thread of romance. Tonight, the makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you Prosper Mérimée exciting classic, Columba.
For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment anytime, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. The delicious, long-lasting, real mint flavor of Wrigley's Spearmint cools your mouth and freshens your taste. The good, smooth chewing helps keep you feeling fresh and alert, adds enjoyment to whatever you're doing. So indoors, outdoors, at work or play, enjoy chewing Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. Wrigley's Spearmint, refreshing, delicious.
Now, here is the first act of Columba.
over here.
There is a sea tonight.
Oh, it's beautiful. Even without the moonlit light. But I can stay for only a little while.
Your father is asleep?
Yes, but he lectured me tonight.
Oh?
Paolo, the helmsman was singing such a strange song. Did you hear him?
Yes, I heard.
I understand so few of your Corsican dialects. But there was something about the hand and the eyes and the heart that's something or other.
The heart that planned.
Was it a love song?
Yes, it was a song of love together with hate and a great amount of passion.
It sounded quite sad.
Yes, sadness is there, too. What did your father say, Celia?
Oh, it's not important, really. He's shocked at my behavior. The way he puts it, I'm consorting with that young Corsican savage.
I'm sorry our friendship is the cause of anger between you and your father.
Oh, you must understand that one is either British or savage or barbarian. We are decidedly superior people.
I had heard that. And you must be the rarest one, Celia.
Because I don't agree that you're a savage?
Because of many things that are better thought than spoken now. Because there is only one end to this. After we leave our ship, I won't see you again.
Oh, that's not true. Not unless you want it that way.
No, I don't, but I know, too, that it should be.
But why, Paolo? Are you afraid of my father's anger?
No. I'm not afraid of that.
Well, what then?
I don't want to bring unpleasantness to you.
Your island. What will we see first when we reach it?
Yeah, it is not like Italy with white buildings in the hills. Behind Ajaccio, they are bare and wild. Look as far as you like, and you will see mountains that are not yet civilized. They are crossed by horse trails where sometimes even carts cannot go.
It started quite by a coincidence which placed three people together on a wharf in Naples. The British father and daughter bound for Corsica on a pleasure trip, and the young man discharged from the French army after one of the world's many wars and returning home. The friendship first was based upon the mutual desire for information about their respective homelands, and upon youth, and the fact that each was rather attractive, the young man dark and the young woman fair. Under a dull morning sky, this ship where it all started reached port, and its passengers in separate groups went to the town's single hotel. And later, after messages had found their way between the young man and the young woman, they met again, this time on a promontory that reached out into the Gulf.
Celia! Oh, I wondered if you weren't coming.
Oh, of course I was coming, Paolo. Father went to pay his respects to the prefect, and I thought he'd never finish dressing and leave. That's why I was late.
You had no trouble finding this place?
No.
Come over here where we can sit down.
All right.
Ah, there.
Thank you, Paolo.
Oh, I've missed you already, Celia.
I, too.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
I don't either.
I know that for 3 mornings my first thought has been of you, and that for 3 nights my last thought has been of you.
Mine has been the same.
Will you meet me tonight, Celia?
If I can.
Yes, if you can.
And tomorrow, surely.
And then there is the next day when I leave.
I know.
My sister will be here tonight. There are things she wants to buy tomorrow. But the next morning we'll have to leave for our village.
Where is your village? Which way?
Behind us. Only a few miles beyond the first hills. My father died while I was gone, so now our land is mine to manage.
You didn't tell me about your father.
I thought there were other things to say. Well, do you like Corsica now that you have come here?
Yes. I like it here with you. But it rather frightens me. The streets are almost empty, and the people seem to be so sad.
The Corsican people are sad people.
You aren't like that.
I've been on the continent for more than 2 years.
Well, I can't believe that you were like that even before you left here.
I hardly remember, Celia. There are so many things here that I no longer understand. But this I understand. I will be sad with the rest when I leave you. And when you leave the island, go back to your London.
Oh, look, please don't.
There is no way to stop my thoughts. Celia, look at me.
No, I can't.
Yes, Celia, please. I've made you cry.
Yes, a little. But it's not you, really.
It's that I can offer you nothing. No promises, because there is no future for us. Oh, Celia, that I love you is all I can say.
that I love you. Right here, right now. It is the only promise I can make. The only oath I can swear.
Paolo. 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 Oh, Father, you're back.
You know that it's past 5.
Well, I knew it was late, Father.
Where have you been?
Walking along the cliff.
With whom? You've been with Paula Della Rebbia. Well, haven't you?
Yes.
Come here, Celia, and sit down.
Yes, Father.
Celia, I won't remind you that you disobeyed me because you know that.
Yes, Father.
Why have you disobeyed me in regard to this young scoundrel?
Because I saw no harm in my seeing Paolo. Since he's not a scoundrel.
Celia, how serious are your feelings toward him?
Well, I don't think that matters, Father.
I quite agree. I forbade your seeing him for your own good.
But, Father...
I shall ask you to be quiet until I'm finished here. Paolo Della Rebbia has returned to Corsica for the express purpose of carrying out an assassination by his own hand.
Oh, how utterly ridiculous.
Has he talked to you about his father?
His father died while he was on the continent.
His father was murdered. And according to Corsican tradition, it is the duty of the son to avenge the murder and live the rest of his life an outlaw.
Who has told you this, Father? These lies?
They are not lies. The explanation was given me by the prefect this afternoon while you walked along the cliffs.
I don't believe it.
I hardly expected that you should, so I've arranged another meeting with the prefect tomorrow morning so that you may talk with him. He will say what I say now, that it is highly dangerous to be in the company of this Della Rebbia, since his intended victims are even now planning to do away with him.
I don't believe it.
Because you don't understand barbarism. Come now, Celia, fresh up. You go have a nice supper and forget the whole incident.
Well...
This Della Rebbia might have been quite a nice chap on the continent, but now he's in Corsica, and by the Lord, he's a Corsican once again.
All right, Father. I'd like to rest a bit, if I may.
Of course, my dear. Well, Celia, I'll go downstairs and let you rest. Shall I see you in an hour?
Paolo?
Celia, you shouldn't have come here.
Please let me come in. I had to talk to you. Paolo, tell me that... Oh,
This is my sister. This is Miss Neville.
how do you do?
My pleasure, Miss Neville. My name is Columba.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Forgotten, Paolo. I see now why you were disturbed. We've been talking about you, Miss Neville.
Columba.
Do you want me to leave?
I'm sorry, but could I talk to him for just a few moments?
Yes. Tell her about the Rembecco, Paolo.
Leave it, Columba.
Tell her how long we have sung the Rembecco.
Celia, you shouldn't have come here.
Paolo, I had to see you.
What is it?
I want to hear you say that you told me the truth about why you came back to Corsica, that you were discharged from the army, that you came back to manage your land.
There have been two purposes, one of my own and one of my people. I think you've heard of that one, haven't you?
Paolo.
I have told my sister that my father's murder has been avenged by the law, that I would do nothing.
I knew, Paolo.
She told me that an innocent man had been punished, but that the guilty still lived. I knew who she meant, the Baracini. They've been enemies of my family for generations. When there is murder, only the enemy can be guilty of it. That is the Corsican way. No proof, no argument can change it. Only the vendetta.
But you don't believe that.
I have fought in a war, and I've seen enough of hate and killing. But it's my people. They have waited for me 2 years. They have thought of nothing but this revenge. They will be hard to change.
But you will change them.
Yes, I think I will. And I will talk to Baracini and tell them I am satisfied and want only peace.
Then you won't be any danger.
And I will talk to them of selling my land so that I can move back to the continent.
Paolo, you could do that?
Well, why not? It is my land to do with what I want. And that is what I want.
Then we could see one another again.
Well, of course. Celia, we leave for my village in the morning because I want to hurry. This is no end of the things for you and me. This is a beginning.
Oh.
That will be Columba.
Paolo, how will I hear about what you're doing?
I will ride back to tell you.
We'll be here 6 days.
I will come to you more than once, or Celia, as many times as I can. Know that.
Oh, Paolo. Oh, I must go. Please, darling, be careful.
I will be.
I'm sorry to hurry you.
You were very kind.
Did he tell you about the Rembecco, Miss Neville?
No. Tell me.
Yes, I can now. You heard it on the ship, and you asked me if it was a love song. No. It is a song of vengeance, and it was sung to remind me that I'm a Corsican. At the end, its words say, I must have the hand that fired, the eye that aimed, the heart that planned.
For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment any time, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. When your mouth feels dry, when you're warm or tired, Wrigley's Spearmint is really refreshing. The lively, full-bodied real mint flavor cools your mouth, moistens your throat, freshens your taste. And the chewing itself gives you a little lift, helps you feel your best and do your best. So for chewing enjoyment plus pleasant refreshment, chew delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Gum.
And now for the second act of Columba, as we return to romance. Paolo della Rebbia's village was named Pietranera, and he looked less and less peaceful as he rode toward it with his sister at his side. There was a rifle across his back and a bandolier across his chest. Their trail wound through hilly, brush-covered terrain and then turned into a meadow. It was there that they reined up at the sight of a group of armed men waiting.
Those are our men. Chiaricchio's done his errand well.
What men did he bring, Columba?
Our herdsman. I sent him yesterday to gather them so that they could escort you home.
I don't want them. I told you last night I want peace. No one will believe that if I ride into the village with an armed escort.
They're for your own protection. You may have forgotten the ways of your own country, but the Baracini haven't. These are your friends, Paolo. They think as we do. Griffo! Paolo!
Wait, men! Wait! Wait, men! Men, wait. Thank you for riding out. But I know my way to Pietranera, and I need no guides.
Guides, you call us? You wouldn't call us guides if you saw your village. The Baracini are waiting for you. They have the houses shuttered against you. Only the slits for the rifles are open.
There will be no trouble with the Baracini. I have no spite against them.
I understand him like his father. He'll not say what he means to do, but he'll do it.
I know what my duty is. I know that I will go to the barracks.
You remember me, Paolo? I am Polo Grifo. You learned to ride behind me on a mule I own.
I remember you, Grifo.
I have waited with the rest, Paolo. Now you're back, I'm with you, body and soul. When you need this rifle of mine, you need only tell me.
I won't need it. Turn the men around, Grifo, and go into town with them. We'll follow behind.
All right, Paolo. We're ready to start. Se viva Galaia! We start!
What do you think now, Paolo?
The same.
You heard them say the Baracini have barricaded their houses.
They don't understand. I will go to their house and talk to them, the two brothers.
You won't. No Della Rebbia goes into a Baracini house.
I do. No more talk now. Here, come on, here. That's the way I see it, Columba. A man has his life that is his. If he sees how he wants to spend it, he has a right to.
You have walked into the house where you were born, Paolo. And not one word for the father. Not one word except for you and your life.
I am home.
And why, Paolo?
I came very close to not coming.
Why, Paolo?
Because I knew what was expected of me here. And I have lived in lands where the son is not pledged to avenge his father. I liked it better.
What do they do in these countries?
They leave punishment to the law.
The law here was wrong. the wrong person was punished.
You have proof of that? Our father's money was gone. They arrested a thief.
Paolo, only because he was easy to arrest. The Baracini killed your father.
I don't know that. I only have read it in your letters.
It is the truth.
Why do you say that so certainly?
Because they killed your father.
Why?
Because they hated him, as they hate you.
Is that proof that they killed him, Colomba?
No thief killed him. I have this to show you. I have saved this to show you. Your father's purse. Would a thief leave so rich a leather purse, or would he take it?
I don't know the thief.
But you know the Baracini. They would leave the empty purse to make the people think of thieves. They killed your father, Paolo. Look, on the leather. Here.
I see a blood stain, but 2 years old, Colomba. I've seen a great deal of blood, fresher than this, from close comrades. This blood stain doesn't anger me.
What has this English woman done to you?
She has loved me, and she has made me love her.
She's made you a coward. A man without honor.
Leave it, Colomba.
There were no thoughts like these in your letters to me. You wrote of your duty, of your love for your father, your hatred for his killers. You wrote as a Corsican. Now you're nothing.
I am a man who has learned that there are better things to do with his future than to waste it hiding from the police. I've learned that traditions that ask me to do that are stupid.
Paolo, no more. Not in this house.
No matter what house. It is my life. The courts have proved a thief killed my father, and tomorrow morning I will ride to the Baricini house and ask for peace between our families. Now, is my room the same?
Same. Griffel has taken your luggage, sir.
You will call me then when it is time to eat.
I will. Griffel, come here.
When does he ride, Colombo?
Come over here. I would be ashamed to have anyone else hear me. Paolo has lost himself.
What do you mean?
He is not himself. Too many years on the continent. Then there is an English woman.
What are you saying, Colombo?
He wants no vendetta.
No, you misunderstand.
He wants no vendetta.
I don't believe it.
He rides to the Baracini tomorrow morning to talk peace.
Ah.
He has forgotten.
What will I tell the men?
Tell them nothing. We'll have our revenge, Griffel. But we will need your rifle.
It is yours.
When he rides toward the Baracini in the morning, he must be shot at, as from ambush.
You are more the son than he is,
No.
Colombo.
He only has forgotten. Kill his horse, Griffel. Then he will remember again. Will you do this for me?
Yes.
No one must know, Griffel. No one must ever know.
The Corsican village of Pietranera had no street. There were possibly 12 buildings scattered without pattern across a plateau. On one edge stood the Baricini dwelling, and a mile away on the other lived the Della Rebbias. It was this mile that young Paolo had to cross the next morning on his unconventional errand of peace.
Hold there.
Hey! My leg! My leg, Colomba. Help me get it out.
Corretto! Help with his leg!
You all right, Paulo?
I think so.
Hard to pour shame on you this way. There. Help now, Colombo.
Can you move it?
Yes, it is not broken.
Try to get up. Can you stand on it?
Yes, I think so.
Put it behind my saddle. Come, Paulo.
And what of the rest of us? Do we ride to the Baracini now?
Yes!
They killed our horse. Do we kill theirs?
No! Wait!
You will stop us after this.
Wait!
Wait for what? More insults?
There is no need to kill horses. Wait until I can ride again.
Are you all right, Paolo?
I'm all right. Griffo?
Paulo?
What do you think of their innocence now, Paolo?
I will rest tomorrow, which is the third day. On the fourth, I will ride to Ajaccio and return in the afternoon. Let the Baricini learn that. I will meet them as I ride back from Ajaccio.
They already know.
You were quick, Columba.
Paolo, do you know the woods near Vitsavona?
I remember them.
I know a man who hides there. He will take care of you. A man could stay there for 10 years before a policeman or a soldier would even come to look for him. And you shall want for nothing, Paolo, if you have to hide.
Nothing, Griffo. What could a man need as long as he has his honor? Not a man, rather a Corsican. I want to send a message to Ajaccio, Columba.
To the English woman?
Is it dishonorable or cowardly that I want to see her again?
She blinded you once.
I promised I would come back and tell how I fared when I returned home.
This is no affair of hers.
I will tell her what I think is right. Now, if I could rest.
Darling, it's been such a long time, these 4 days.
Only 4 days.
And this accident you wrote about, you still live.
Oh, it is only stiff. My horse fell. Can we sit where we did before?
Yes, Paolo. Did things go well in your village?
Very well.
You are going to leave Corsica. You're going to sell your land and move to the continent.
Celia, there is something I must tell you.
But first I want to tell you about my dream. That you would sail with us in the morning.
Celia, I cannot sail with you.
Oh, I didn't really think you could. What did your people say about the vendetta?
I told them I am in love, that a man has a right to live his life the way he wants to when he is in love.
Oh, darling, what did they say?
They said, oh, Celia, I think they know more of hate than of love.
Well, perhaps they're just slow to understand. When can you leave?
There is much to be done.
I don't think I shall be so lonely because I'll know you're coming to me.
Celia, you know I would never leave you, never for a moment, if there were any other way.
Any other way? Oh, to sell your land, you mean?
To do what I must do.
Oh, Paolo, I want to marry you. That was my real dream.
Oh, it is a beautiful dream, Celia. Keep it. Keep it. Always. Oh, Celia.
Later that afternoon, the young English girl returned to her hotel and to her dreams. She didn't see the young man ride out of town on the trail that led through the hilly, brush-covered terrain. She didn't see him descend the steep slope, and she didn't hear the shots that were fired. Whether he sought suicide and didn't return their fire is unimportant. Whether he died in honorable battle is not important either, nor is the possibility that he killed his enemies and escaped to hide from the police for the rest of his life. There was very little of importance, except the dreams he had left the English girl. Dreams that would burn brightly for a time, and then perhaps would fade a little, and cool, but never die.
Remember, friends, for refreshment while you work, for enjoyment any time, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. There's lots of lively, real mint flavor in it to cool your mouth, freshen your taste, and sweeten your breath. And chewing Wrigley's Spearmint helps keep you fresh and alert. You feel better, work better, get more fun out of doing things. So indoors, outdoors, at work or play, always keep delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum handy. For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment any time, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum.
Romance is produced and directed by Norman McDonnell and brings you the greatest love stories of today and yesterday. Tonight you have heard Colomba by Prosper Mérimée, specially adapted for romance by Gil Dowd, starring John Daner with Eileen Erskine, Georgia Ellis, and Herb Butterfield. Featured in the cast were Edgar Barrier, Larry Dobkin, Lamont Johnson, and Angelo Raffaele. Editorial supervision is by John Meston and musical supervision by Alexander Courage. Next week, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum, the chewing treat enjoyed by millions, will bring you another story enjoyed by millions. Joseph Hergesheimer's unusual romance, The Token.
Be sure to listen to Romance next week when the makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you The Token. This is Bob Stevenson speaking, and this is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum, the refreshing, delicious treat that gives you chewing enjoyment, presents for your listening enjoyment, Romance.
Romance, bringing you the finest stories of the world's greatest romantic authors. Stories of the courage, the devotion, the adventure of love, all strung on the bright thread of romance. Tonight, the makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you Joseph Hergesheimer's unusual romance, The Token.
For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment any time, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. The delicious, long-lasting, real mint flavor of Wrigley's Spearmint cools your mouth and freshens your taste. The good, smooth chewing helps keep you feeling fresh and alert, adds enjoyment to whatever you're doing. So indoors, outdoors, at work or play, enjoy chewing Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. Wrigley's Spearmint. Refreshing, delicious.
Now, here is the first act of The Token.
It was by now 6 in the evening. I was standing at the taffrail of the Triton, watching the log line that ran from the wake and strained back as the ship worked homeward. She was a square-rigged ship with 3 masts, bound for Salem after a 2 years trading voyage to the other side of the world. I stood there looking back and thinking that I had no great desire to be nearing home. Just then, Seth Hawes, first mate and a good friend, came up to the rail beside me.
It's you, Ben Kelly.
Hello, Seth.
Squally weather.
We've seen worse.
We have, by far. Phineas Cassidy can't sell his head.
What?
I said Phineas Cassidy can't sell his head.
Well, why not?
It's broke. That's why he can't sell it, I guess.
And who broke it?
Phineas himself. He broke it. It was his last one. He kept it in his bunk while he slept. Rolled over on it last night. Smashed it.
You lie.
It's not his own head, I mean. It's one of them little shrunk-up heads he bought from a savage in New Zealand. 4 of them he had, strung on a string like onions.
Well, then perhaps I'll buy it.
What for, Ben?
Oh, sort of a token of the voyage.
Seems you told me you caliphs got a token.
Yes. Yes, I've not forgotten.
Now tell me, Ben, what's it look like, this family token of yours?
Oh, it's just a gold coin of the Orient, stamped with a lot of strange signs.
Do you really believe in it, eh?
Well, Seth, it's an old family tradition I was brought up with. You see, if a caliph man gives it to a woman, then he marries her, no matter what.
And you gave it to Anise Balavan, huh?
Just before we sailed. That seems a long time ago.
Ben, you haven't much like being supercargo on this voyage, have you?
Seth, my passion's for the sea and for ships. I hate being a merchant.
Well, then let your father and your brother handle the financial end.
I intend to. Anyway, my training's done now. In the spring, I shall sail as master of this ship.
A ship's master at 25, huh?
Yes, but this is my third voyage, and I've studied hard the whole time.
You have, lad, I know. Well, I think you can handle it. Your father willing, of course.
2 days later at noon, the Triton docked at Darby Wharf. I walked through Salem to our huge square brick house on Chestnut Street, entered, and went directly to my father's study.
Come in.
Good evening, sir.
Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
You're looking well. I take it the voyage agreed with you.
It did indeed, sir. The sea is good for a man. I missed you and Bartlett at Darby Wharf, sir.
Your brother Bartlett is dead.
What? Dead?
He died a month ago in Boston.
But how?
Carelessness in the form of blood poisoning.
Oh. Poor Bartlett.
Yes. Your mother and now Bartlett.
God rest their souls. It seems such a pity.
It is, but we all die. Now, give me an account of the Triton.
Well, she's a splendid ship, sir. In the Canaries, she...
I would like details of more importance.
Well, there are about 1 million pounds of Madras sugar in her hold. Some 700 bags of ginger. 560 pieces of redwood. 830 bags of pepper and 22 chests of tea.
You don't like this, do you?
No, sir.
Always the taste for mere ships.
Ships in the sea, both, sir.
Well, now that Bartlett is dead, it will be needful for you to give up the sea as a career.
What?
I will require you to stay in Salem.
Oh, no, sir. You promised that after this voyage I'd be master on the next.
There are plenty of masters. You shall remain in Salem and learn to manage our trade from here.
But, sir...
Also, I have spoken to Anise Balavan about this. She's a sensible girl and has no fancy for a husband eternally below the horizon.
Oh. Oh, I see.
So there isn't a great deal left to be said. Arrangements will be made for Anise and you. I shall give you a new house, and her mother has promised to furnish it.
But, sir, that isn't what was
You
planned.
are, of course, upset by the suddenness of the news of your brother's death. If you like, you may go to your room with no further discussion at present.
Very good, sir.
You will, of course, stop in at the Balavans this evening.
Angered and confused, I went to my room. There, a servant brought me a dish of codfish with a green sauce and a bottle of sherry. An hour later, I went to the Balavans' house, where I was greeted not by Anise, but by her younger sister, Sumatra.
Ben, oh, Ben, it's good to see you.
Sumatra, how are you? I believe Anise is expecting me.
Come, sit down.
Thank you.
There. Now, tell me every shift of the Triton's wheel. Be a human log for me, Ben.
In good time, Sumatra. Look, I thought Anise was...
Oh, she'll be down presently. Tell me, did the Triton do anything really exciting? Oh, I hope you came in with a sheer poles coach whipped and cross-pointed Turk's heads with double rose props.
Sumatra, I assure you, I don't understand a word you're saying. Now, will you go at once and tell Anise...
Oh, you don't? Well, then, Caleb, I hear it doesn't matter what you understand about the sea now that you're going to be a clerk.
What?
A mere clerk. It doesn't take much of a gale to burst your foresail, does it?
Sumatra, all your life, people have thought you a joke with your language like a crazy ship's chandler.
Bah! Are you or aren't you leaving the sea for your father's counting house?
I've had enough of your talk, Sumatra. Now, will you kindly go tell Anise that I'm waiting?
Ben, do you really hate me? I mean, when you're not in a rage.
On the contrary. In fact, I think that one day you'll make a fine wife for the captain of a West India lugger, or some incompetent fellow trading with Bermuda 100. Oh, come now, Sumatra. Look, I'm sorry for the insult. Forgive me, please.
Ben, don't let him do it.
What?
Your father. He'll ruin your life. You must stand up to him. You won't be struck dead, you know.
Nonsense. I'm not afraid of my father. It's something a girl couldn't possibly understand.
Oh, you're wrong, Ben. I do understand. You just can't mutiny. Isn't that it?
Yes. Yes, I suppose it is. But how did you...
Listen, Ben. What you don't understand is that while at sea one can't meet tyranny with mutiny, it's an entirely different matter on land.
I'm not sure there is such a difference.
Well, you'd better be sure soon, or you'll be helpless. Yes, helpless. You'll marry Anise and grow fat and sallow and soft. That's what'll happen to you.
Well, why not?
Anise stood in the doorway, slender and palely gold. I'd forgotten how lovely she was. Her soft blonde hair was like a cloud in sifted sunlight. Her skin had a warm pallor, lending a great delicacy to her beauty.
Ben, how weathered and rough you look.
And you, Anise, you're as lovely as ever.
Come, there's an ocean of things for us to talk about and arrange. Good night, Sumatra, dear.
Good night. Good night, Ben.
Anise held her face gently to me. It was like a tea rose. I realized I ought to kiss her, but I felt extremely awkward. Somehow her manner suggested more that we'd been married a year than separated by the diameter of the world for 2. Still, I was proud of her. In her way, she was fine and beautiful. And she possessed the Caliph token.
Ben, I'm so glad you're not going to sea again.
And it's true. You do agree with my father.
Why, certainly I do. After all, you're not a common sailor, Ben. You're a Caliph. And you belong here in Salem.
Anise, I thought you knew what the sea means to me.
But, Ben, your business will require you to be around ships a great deal.
That's a poor substitute for being a master of the Triton on a world voyage.
Nonsense. You'll be the real master of all the Caliph ships.
It's not the power I want. It's the sea and my own ship.
Please, let's not quarrel on your first evening home.
It's not a quarrel, Anise. It's...
Ben, did you hear? Isn't it unexpectedly sweet of Mother to furnish our house? Isn't it?
I suppose.
Ben?
Yes. Yes, of course it is.
And we're going to have the most miraculous brocades and hangings. And just imagine, a French boudoir.
That'll be fine.
Oh, Ben, we're going to be so happy.
Of course. Of course we are, Anise.
For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment any time, chew a stick of Wrigley Spearmint Gum. When your mouth feels dry, when you're warm or tired, Wrigley Spearmint is really refreshing. A lively, full-bodied, real mint flavor cools your mouth, moistens your throat, freshens your taste. And the chewing itself gives you a little lift, helps you feel your best and do your best. So for chewing enjoyment plus pleasant refreshment, chew delicious Wrigley Spearmint Gum.
And now for the second act of The Token, as we return to romance.
Walking home later, I felt the icy wind as sharp as needles coming off the sea. And I thought what an odorous heat there would be tonight over the mooring at the Prince's Ghat in Calcutta. I reached our house and was laying aside my greatcoat when my father appeared in the doorway of his study.
I have seen Captain Dove. He has praised your handling of the Triton's affairs.
Thank you, sir. And did he report well of my navigational studies?
Your conduct this evening, too, was admirable. I did not, in fact, quite expect such an immediate understanding of my intentions.
Didn't you, sir?
What's that?
Nothing, sir.
Very well. You must understand that from now on, not adventure, but finance will be the ruling spirit of this country. And the Caliph must be at the center of affairs. And safe.
Safe? Safe, you say? Sir, I loathe the money sharks who trade on the courage and faith of ships' masters and crews. And I must protest against...
Keep your mutinous protest to yourself. Remember that I was a master for 20 years in my time, and I will not now brook insubordination. You will do as you're told. Is that clear?
Very well, sir.
Then good night.
The helplessness of which Sumatra had spoken flooded me. For too long, I'd seen my world as the deck of a ship, and the harsh discipline of that world was a part of my being. No, I could not mutiny. A month passed. Often I spent the late afternoon at the Balavans.
Oh, Ben, I do wish you could go to the cotillion with us tonight.
Well, Anise, another month and I'll be out of mourning. Though meanwhile, I must admit, it saved me from a lot of meaningless parties.
Ben, I'm sure you don't mean that. Sumatra, you must go dress now.
And you?
You can't insult me, little sister. And I dressed early so that I could spend this time alone with Ben.
I can get ready in 12 minutes.
I don't doubt that, though most ladies take longer.
Ben has told me I couldn't make myself a proper lady no matter how much I tried.
Did you say that, Ben? It was rather tactless of you. Don't you know Sumatra is crazy about you?
No, I'm not. Though it is true I was once when I thought Ben belonged to the sea. But now, well, I don't happen to have much respect for good people, and he's being so very good.
And what experience have you had with bad people? As usual, Sumatra, you're just talking words, like a regular sea lawyer.
Do get dressed, Sumatra.
I swear she has salt water for brains.
Ben, you haven't been especially nice to me, have you?
Oh, come now, Sumatra, I didn't
And what Anise told you really is true. I even have a little picture of you hidden in my room, which I'm now going to tear to bits.
What a child. But, Ben, now she's gone, there's something I must tell you. I do hope you won't be angry. Ben, I've lost the token.
You've lost it?
I'm afraid so. I've looked everywhere for it. I really have.
Are you sure?
Yes. And now you won't have to marry me. The charm is broken.
Nonsense. Still, I'm sorry you lost it.
Oh, Ben, so am I. But don't worry. It'll probably turn up.
Let's hope so.
Come. I must hurry now or I'll be late for the cotillion. Will you help me with my cloak?
After I saw Anise and Sumatra enter their carriage, I wandered aimlessly down through the quiet streets to the docks and stood there for a while watching the icy water. A tern, lost and late, went out over the harbor crying and lamenting. I was suddenly depressed and thought of my life to be passed in a little scented room choked with brocade and hangings. And to throw it off, I decided upon a mug of rum at the Monsoon, a sailor's tavern that lay in a street just behind me. I reached it quickly, pushed open the door, and went up to the bar and ordered a rum.
How are you, lad?
Seth Hawes.
I knew you'd come skulking round sooner or later.
Seth, I'm glad to see you.
Yeah, pick up your rum. We'll go sit in the corner and have a talk, huh?
We sat down facing each other across an old plank table. And there, during the next hour, I told him the whole story, even including Anise's loss of the Caliph token.
You still set great store by your little East Indian coin, don't you, lad?
Well, Seth, it's a strange thing. Since she told me she lost the token, I have a different feeling.
Huh?
Oh, I'll marry her, of course, but I know I'm not in love with her.
Yeah, you can't help that. Oh, she's a fine girl, I hear.
Certainly she is, but, Seth, I feel trapped.
Well, why don't you run off? You wouldn't be the first man born to the sea who did.
That'd be mutiny, Seth.
Mutiny, is it? Now, listen to me, lad. Your father's no longer a ship's master. He's only a father.
I know, but you forget the years I've spent under his influence. I can't throw it all off overnight.
I know that, lad, but you'd better try before it's too late.
Being a lady, you hear? Move now, or I'll bite off your other leg.
Lady, is it? Since when did that drunken brute go about with ladies?
Every harbor girl likes to be called a lady. Who is it?
Jake Kilrain. Remember him that night in Canton?
I'll never forget. Now I'm sure she's no lady.
Oh, but she is.
Take a look. I turned and saw Jake Kilrain's huge hulk bending over the slight figure of a girl in a beautiful green silk dress. When the bartender set 2 mugs of rum before him, he picked one up with drunken delicacy and handed it to me. She turned toward him, revealing her face. It was Sumatra. For a moment, I was stunned, but then I got up and went over to her.
Oh, it's you.
Come along, Sumatra. I'll take you home.
Thank you, but I'm not going home.
Of course you are. This is no place.
What are you doing? Leave her alone, you.
You heard him. He said to leave me alone.
That's right. She'll go when I go, and not before.
Stay out of this, you drunken lout.
Stay out of this. Why, I'll cripple you for life, Caleb. I'll drink your blood.
Come along, Sumatra.
Let go of me, you land shark. Let go, I said.
That's the girl. Hit him again. You can handle him alone.
I released Sumatra's arm and at the same time snatched a mug of rum off the bar and threw it full into Jake Kilrain's face. With a roar, he stepped back and shook his head like an angry bull. Then he came for me. I braced myself against the bar and smashed one foot straight into his stomach. He went down, gasping for air. I grabbed Sumatra and dragged her toward the door. Jake could kill a man with a blow, and he was now angry enough to do it.
Look out behind you, men!
I flung Sumatra from me and, half turning, saw Jake charging down on me with wild eyes. As he reached me, I suddenly threw myself to one side, letting him fall over my outstretched knife. Then I stepped up to him and kicked him neatly behind the ear.
You did it, Ben. You did it.
Good work, lad. Only way anyone could have handled him.
Come see me tomorrow, Seth.
Happy they am. But take this lady home before another racket starts. Hurry now.
We reached the street and walked along in silence. It had turned warmer, and the snow was falling in great lazy crystals. Sumatra had lost her veil somewhere, and the snowflakes would catch in her long black hair, sparkle for a moment, and then suddenly disappear. I watched her, thinking how vital a girl she was, and how difficult.
You're in a rage again, aren't you?
Sumatra, you ought to be in a cage. You're just wild.
Oh, Ben, I nearly died at the cotillion. It was so stupid. But finally, I talked Henry Peabody into slipping out and bringing me down here.
Oh? Then how'd you pick up with Jake Kilrain?
That sailor? Well, I didn't pick up with him, thank you. Just that I thought it'd be fun to go into the monsoon, and Henry and I had a row about it. Then that big ape came along, so I went in with him.
Don't you know the monsoon's no place for a lady?
Oh, then I am a lady after all. Now, if you'll take me to your house before I go back to the cotillion, I'd like to straighten myself up a bit.
Well, all right then, but let's hurry.
Why? That silly cotillion will last all night, probably.
When we reached the house, I noticed a light still burning in my father's study, so we slipped in quietly and turned into the library opposite. There I put a match to the fire, and then on an impulse I did a curious thing. Leaving Sumatra, I went out into the kitchen, got a bottle of champagne, opened it, gathered 2 high glasses, and returned to the library. Sumatra was sitting on the floor with candles before a tall mirror.
Well, now you're being nice to me, and it's just what I need.
You don't deserve it, of course.
Oh, don't be wretched. Come, let's pour it. To the Triton. Well, I suppose I ought to go back to the cotillion soon. What will Henry Peabody think? And whatever became of him anyway?
That is of singularly small importance.
I don't want to go. Not really, Ben. I'm so happy here with you.
As she said it, she lowered her eyes for a moment, and a rose flush came into her cheeks. It astonished me that Sumatra would ever reveal even a trace of embarrassment.
We are so different, you and I. I hardly ever do what I don't want to. It's a good thing for your father I'm not you.
It wouldn't make any difference. You'd stay ashore or go to sea, as he said.
I would not.
Oh, yes, but you would.
No, he couldn't make me. Not about that. It's too terribly important.
To my father, nothing is important except what he wants.
Why argue? After all, I'm not you. And yet I believe if I were concerned, I could do what I decided with him.
Decided about what?
About your going to sea, of course.
That's curious.
What is?
I suddenly realized that you're the only person besides me who is concerned.
We love the same things, then.
Yes. But it's more than that.
What do you mean?
I mean that I should be marrying you instead of Anise.
Me? You marry me? Then I'll do it. In fact, I'll do it right now.
Do what?
Talk to your father. Make him change his mind.
Now, don't get excited, you little wildcat. Of course you won't.
But I will. I'm the only one who can. Ben, he's not my father. He has no influence on me, don't you see?
That may be true, Sumatra, but there's a lot you don't understand about him. He can be quite violent, for one thing.
Ben, if he were violent with me, would you stop him?
Of course I would, but...
All right, that's all I want to know. Come on, he's still in his study.
Sumatra, no, come back here.
Are you coming?
She went out into the hall. I followed, knowing there would be a frightful row, but I couldn't stop her now. She knocked once, and then we entered the study without waiting. My father looked up from his table, frowning slightly. His face was white and as hard as marble under the artificial light.
Why, Sumatra, what are you doing here?
Mr. Califf, I suppose you do think it's strange to see me here so late with Ben, but it's even stranger than you imagine.
Sumatra,
May I ask what this is all about?
Mr. Califf, Ben and I are married.
Married? Why, this is outrageous.
It was, as you might guess, in a hurry. We decided only today.
This is disgraceful, utterly disgraceful.
Not at all. You must remember that I'm as much a Balavan as a niece, and besides, I suit Ben far better.
Not that it matters, but might I ask in what impossible way.
I understand and agree with his ambition.
What ambition?
Why, to go to sea, of course.
Ben isn't going to sea.
He wasn't as your son, but married to me, yes, he is.
No, he is not.
But he is. No, it no longer matters what you want.
He became rigid, and then his fingers slowly reached out and closed over a heavy glass paperweight by his hand. His eyes, set and icy, were on Sumatra. I moved one foot slightly and gathered myself to spring on him when Sumatra, too, noticed his hand on the glass.
I wish you would throw that. I'll have you dropped off the end of Darby Wharf if you do. I'm not your son. You hold no power over me. And now I think none over Ben. Do you understand that?
Get out of here. Go. And take Ben with you.
To sea?
If there be any salt water in hell.
Is that your only benediction, sir?
It is. And you are no longer privileged to call me sir.
It slipped out. For the last time. Come, Sumatra. We went back to the library and sat down. My father had been face down for perhaps the first time in his life. And it had somehow broken the spell he had had over me all these years. I could see it all clearly now. And I could see Sumatra, too. Her eyes were shining as I took her in my arms and kissed her.
Oh, Ben. Ben, I haven't forced me on you, have I?
I love you, Sumatra.
But what of Anise?
I discovered earlier tonight that I don't love Anise.
Well, she doesn't really need love, you know. Just respect, and someone respectable to give it to her.
Well, I'm no longer quite respectable, so she wouldn't want me anyway. And it's you I love.
Oh, Ben, dearest. But what can we do now?
Go to sea. On the Triton.
What?
Of course, my father may never speak to me again, but he's too selfish not to make me master of the Triton.
What are you saying?
Simply that now that he knows he can't keep me ashore, he certainly won't throw away all my training on some competitor.
Ben.
Yeah?
Just don't you get any ideas about sailing off to the ends of the earth and leaving me behind all reefed down. Where you go, I go.
As my wife should.
Really, Ben?
Really, darling.
Well, then you'd better do something about marrying me.
Oh, good heavens, I forgot. I'll take care of it first thing tomorrow.
Promise?
It's as certain as though you had the Caliph token. Sumatra, tonight Anise told me she'd lost the token. You didn't by any chance find it, did you?
No, Ben, I didn't find it. I couldn't very well, could I? When I had stolen it?
Remember, friends, for refreshment while you work, for enjoyment any time, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. There's lots of lively, real mint flavor in it to cool your mouth, freshen your taste, and sweeten your breath. And chewing Wrigley Spearmint helps keep you fresh and alert. You feel better, work better, get more fun out of doing things. So indoors, outdoors, at work or play, always keep delicious Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum handy. For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment any time, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum.
Romance is produced and directed by Norman McDonnell and brings you the greatest love stories of today and yesterday. Tonight you have heard The Token by Joseph Hergesheimer, specially adapted for romance by John Meston, starring Harry Bartell with Shirley Mitchell and Lynn Allen. Featured in the cast were Ted Von Elst, Lamont Johnson, and Barney Phillips. Musical supervision is by Alexander Courage. Next week, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum, the chewing treat enjoyed by millions, will bring you another story enjoyed by millions. John Meston's unusual romance of the Old West, Pagosa. Friends, the flood victims of Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Illinois need your help. Many are injured and homeless, and you can help to give them food, clothing, shelter, medical care. You can do your part by giving through your local chapter of the American Red Cross.
Be sure to listen to Romance next week when the makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you Pagosa. This is Bob Stevenson speaking, and this is the CBS Radio Network.
Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum, the refreshing, delicious treat that gives you chewing enjoyment, presents for your listening enjoyment, Romance. Romance, bringing you the finest stories of the world's greatest romantic authors. Stories of the courage, the devotion, the adventure of love, all strung on the bright thread of romance. Tonight, the makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you John Meston's unusual romance of the West, Pagosa.
For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment anytime, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. The delicious, long-lasting, real mint flavor of Wrigley's Spearmint cools your mouth and freshens your taste. The good, smooth chewing helps keep you feeling fresh and alert. Adds enjoyment to whatever you're doing. So indoors, outdoors, at work or play, enjoy chewing Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. Wrigley's Spearmint. Refreshing, delicious.
Now, with Bill Conrad starred as Jeff Spain, here is the first act of Pagosa.
Riding out of the desert up to the wooden bridge that crosses the Gila River on the approach to Pagosa is the tall, imposing figure of Jeff Spain. A deerskin shirt hangs loosely across his big, heavy shoulders. His body moves with the horse and seems to have no weight to it as he takes the bridge townward, the plank boards roaring beneath him. Pagosa is a scatter of faded buildings that grew up around an old desert trading post, and its streets and saloons are generally crowded with thirsty men who have trailed cattle across the desert and down out of the distant hills. It's shortly before noon when Spain rides into town and up the main street. At the end of the street, he notices a small stable and turns into it.
What are you doing here, mister?
Hello. Do you run this place?
I own it. I don't run it.
Well, I'm looking for a stable to board my horse in for a day or so.
I don't board horses here. Try the St. Charles Corral.
I'll pay you $1 a day and I'll feed him myself.
I don't need the money.
That's not friendly.
But why should I bother? Who are you, anyway?
And that's bad manners.
Now, don't tell me what's good or what's bad.
Look, miss, I'm a stranger here, and the sooner I find the land office, the sooner I'll be out of your way.
Well, it's on Cherokee Street, next to the Kettle House.
Oh? The food good at the Kettle House?
Try it.
I'll leave the money in the grain box here.
All right, if you insist.
I do. And thank you.
If there's no one at the land office, go to the Lark and ask for Mitch.
Thanks. I shall.
After taking a room at the Kettle House, Spain goes to the land office. The door is shut and locked. He looks around, sees the lock directly opposite, and crosses the crowded, dusty street. The place is somewhat smaller than the usual gambling saloon, but obviously popular.
What's yours, mister?
Man called Mitch from the land office?
Mitch Travis. He's in the corner around behind the stairs there with Miss Teal.
Oh, well then maybe I better wait.
Teal Travis. His sister, she owns the Lark.
Thanks. Hello?
Oh, it's you.
Seems like you own a lot of things in Pagosa.
One stable for pleasure, one saloon for profit. Mitch, this is Mr.
Spain, Jeff Spain.
How are you? Sit down. Sit down.
Thank you. Can I buy you a drink?
Not for me. And Mitch has had enough.
Oh, now, Teal don't always...
I wanted to talk with you about filing a land title, Travis. Maybe we'd better go over to your office.
What you want to file on?
My partner and I got a little spread about 100 miles west of here.
Pardon?
It's Cy Quill. He's waiting for me back on the trail. Doesn't like town much.
All right. Look, come round in the morning. I'll fix it then.
But can't we do it today?
I'll come round early in the morning. I'm pretty sober then. I'll sleep in back. I'm going now. Bye to you, Spain.
Well, now you know Mitch.
No business of mine. Unless it interferes with filing my title.
It won't.
It must be hard for you, though.
Yes. That's why Dad left the Lark to me when he died. He knew Mitch couldn't run it.
You seem to be doing all right.
I make money. But I envy you, Spain. I envy you your little spread about 100 miles west of here.
I understand.
Who are you, anyway?
Oh, I'm a cowman. Run a ranch.
You said that. But there's something about you. I think I've heard your name.
I used to be a peace officer. Gunfighter on the side of the law.
You're not wearing a gun now.
I changed my profession 2 years ago. I killed till I got against killing.
You're a strange man. Well, I wish you luck.
Thank you.
You must excuse me now. I have work to do.
Of course. Good day.
It's evening. Spain is standing by the window of his room in the Kettle House, watching the crowd move endlessly in its search for pleasure and violence.
Who is it?
Duke Reese. I want to talk to you, Spain.
All right, come in with both hands straight in front of you, shoulder high, and come in slow. All right, that's enough. Now turn around. All right, you can put him down.
You're cautious, Spain.
What do you want?
I want to give you a job.
I got a job.
I know, but this pays better than raising cows.
You know a lot, mister. Who are you?
The county commissioners will tell you I'm the district attorney here.
I see. What else?
I'm the law in Pagosa, and I appoint sheriffs and I fire them.
Yes, I know the story.
You should, Spain. Why'd you leave Abilene?
Too many men were dying there.
They'll die here. You're well known, Spain.
Who told you I was in town?
Mitch Trappist mentioned it.
All right, you found me. Now get out.
I'll put it briefly. As sheriff of Pagosa, you'll get $500 a month and 25% of the take. You and I will run this town together. All right, 30% of the take.
They told you wrong about me, Reese, if you think I'd be interested in a deal like this.
I'm firing the present sheriff in the morning.
I won't help you.
Spain, I need a man of your reputation and ability too much to let you go. Come to my office tomorrow night. I'll explain the details to you then. Good night.
It's morning. The town of Pagosa lies exhausted beneath the long, streaming sunlight. Spain enters the land office and goes to the back room where Mitch Travis lies asleep in his bunk.
Mitch? Mitch. Come on, wake up. Wake up, Mitch.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah. Come on, it won't take long.
What do you want, Spain?
Let's get it done, Mitch. I want to file the claim and get out of here.
No, Spain, I can't do it.
What's that?
I just can't do it, that's all.
Who said you can't do it, Mitch?
I just can't do it. There's been a delay.
Who told you not to do it? Tell me. Tell me, Mitch.
Teal. Teal said no.
Teal?
She said maybe we can fix it later. Not now.
All right, Mitch. But you stay here till I get back.
Spain crosses Cherokee Street, enters the lock, and goes to the bar. At one end, a couple of men ravaged by the long night stare dumbly at an empty bottle before them. A lone bartender's on duty, polishing glasses with a slow, fanatical care.
Where do I find Teal, Travis?
She's upstairs.
Which room?
Into the hall, but I wouldn't bother her so early if I were you.
I'll chance it. Jeff Spain.
I just got up. What do you want?
Open the door, Teal.
Yes?
One arm holding a bright scarlet robe closely about her body, Teal stands in the doorway. The touch of sleep is still on her, softening her cheeks, loosening the arrangement of her hair. Her soft hazel eyes look uncertainly into Spain's, checking his anger.
I'm sorry for this, but I must talk with you.
All right. Come in then.
Mitch is weak. Drunk and weak. He'll do whatever you tell him.
Yes. Yes, it's true.
Why did you tell him not to file my title?
Can't you file somewhere else?
My land lies within the jurisdiction of Pagosa. I must file it here.
Then wait. Wait a little. Maybe later...
Teal, you must know I'm not a man to accept that. It'd be easier if you told me the whole story.
Duke Reese wants you to be sheriff here.
Yes, I know.
And unless you go along with him, you won't get your title claim filed.
I see. Teal, yesterday you said you envy me my ranch. You remember that?
Yes, I remember.
You know, I can't figure you, Teal. What's your part in this business?
I can't tell you.
How is it? Are you in love with Reese?
Now get out. Get out of here.
And you're not in love with him. Good.
I hate him.
She stands there, swaying slightly, her fingers covering her eyes until Spain steps close to her, gently presses it to him. Then she looks up, her eyes brimming and filled with wonder.
Jeff.
He suddenly bends over and kisses her lips.
Oh. Jeff, go away before it's too late.
There have been men like Duke Reese before. I can handle him. But, Teal, what's his power over you? You can trust me, Teal.
It's because Mitch is drunk and doesn't always know what he's doing. Duke tricked him into filing some crooked land titles, and now he could send him to prison anytime he wants.
I see. So now I go to work for Reese or I don't get my land.
But, Jeff, what can I do?
You do what you have to do. I'll handle Reese my own way.
But how?
I don't know yet. But Teal, try to remember this.
What, Jeff?
Reese isn't a man to give up easily. There'll be trouble. But I won't do anything that doesn't have to be done. Try to understand that when it happens.
All right. All right, Jeff. I'll try.
And when this is over, Teal, I'll be back. Now, where'd I find Duke Reese?
For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment anytime, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. When your mouth feels dry, when you're warm or tired, Wrigley's Spearmint is really refreshing. The lively, full-bodied, real mint flavor cools your mouth, moistens your throat, freshens your taste. And the chewing itself gives you a little lift, helps you feel your best and do your best. So for chewing enjoyment plus pleasant refreshment, chew delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Gum.
And now for the second act of Pagosa, as we return to romance.
It's mid-morning when Jeff Spain steps out of the lock into Cherokee Street. Across the street and a few doors down, he sees a sign neatly lettered District Attorney, and underneath is the name of Duke Reese. Spain walks over quickly, throws open the door, and enters.
Well, Spain, I didn't expect you so soon.
I always try to be a little ahead of the other man.
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Sit down.
I'll stand.
You don't like me, do you, Spain?
You were going to explain things to me, Reese.
All right, it doesn't matter. We'll make a profitable team anyway. Now, my offer still stands. $500 a month and 30% of the take.
Oh? And how would I earn it?
Well, your reputation will earn most of it for you. It's very simple, Spain. For the next 6 months, I shall want campaign contributions from the gambling halls and saloons hereabouts. I'm running for the state legislature, you know.
I didn't know.
Yes. And I'm sure everyone will contribute generously, knowing that if they don't, our sheriff will close them down for some good legal reason or other. I'll provide that. Well?
Why don't you send for some other gunfighter, Reese?
Why? When I can trust you.
What's your point, Reese?
Just that in 6 months you can have title to your land. And I think you want that.
And what guarantee do I have of it?
You don't need any. In 6 months, I'm leaving Pagosa. For good. I don't care what happens here after that.
And if I refuse?
In that case, I won't be able to afford to leave, will I? If I do stay on here, Spain, Mitch Travis will file that title in my name.
I see.
And he'll file it in my name anyway, if you accept the job and you and I, shall we say, don't get along. You have till tomorrow morning to decide. Don't be a fool, Spain.
We all make mistakes, Reese.
A few minutes later, Spain rides out of town, taking the trail towards the chaparral where Cy Quill is waiting for him. There in the shade, they pass the afternoon in talk. And late that night, a pair of riders run in off the desert, put their horses in Teal Travis' stable, and walk back to the Kettle House, where in Spain's room they make their final plans, and then go quietly to bed. Next morning, they come out of the hotel and head for the district attorney's office.
Reese, this is my partner, Cy Quill.
Oh? How do you do, Mr. Quill?
Howdy.
You still want to appoint me sheriff of Pagosa?
Then you've decided?
Yeah. Where's a badge?
Right here.
Good. Now get one out for Cy. I just made him my deputy.
What?
Give him a badge. I'm not new at this game, Reese, and I always appoint my own men.
Well, all right, if you insist.
Now go down to the sheriff's office and fire whoever's in there. Get him out by noon. I'll take over then.
Now, just a minute, Spain. I'm not used to being ordered around.
I can't fire your man. Tell him to turn loose any prisoners he's got in there. I don't like another man's leavings.
A few minutes before noon, Spain walks alone down Cherokee Street towards the sheriff's office. He now carries a heavy Colt 44 on his hip, slung in a worn, hard leather holster. He has the air of a man who knows his business, knows it well. He enters the sheriff's office and finds it deserted. At the rear is a door leading out to a half a dozen cells, now empty. With his arm, Spain sweeps a pile of papers off the former sheriff's desk and sits down.
All right, Cy?
Sure. I give the letter to the stage driver himself. Promised to deliver it personally when he gets to Spring City. He just pulled out.
Good.
He seemed like a nice fella. Offered me a free trip anytime I wanted to ride shotgun for him.
Well, that's mighty generous. Well, Cy, let's get started.
I'm ready.
All right, I showed you where the land office is. Now go down there and arrest Mitch Travis.
Right.
But take it easy with him, huh?
I know.
Half an hour later, Mitch is quietly asleep in his cell with the help of half a pint of whiskey the law's been nursing him with. In the office, Cy Quill is cleaning and oiling a short-barreled Winchester carbine, while Spain sits motionless at his desk, only his eyes alert and watchful.
Come in. Hello, Teal.
Where's Mitch?
He's back there, asleep.
Who told you to arrest him?
Nobody. Cy and I... Oh, this is my partner, Cy Quill. Teal Travis.
You got a lot of partners, it seems, Jeff Spain.
No, just Cy.
And to think I trusted you. That I was surer of you than I'd ever been of any man.
Now, wait a minute, Teal. Just let me explain.
What's going on here, Spain? What the devil are you up to?
What's wrong, Reese?
Why did you arrest Mitch Travis?
I didn't exactly arrest him.
He's here, isn't he? In jail?
Oh, yes. He's in custody.
Custody? What are you talking about?
Protective custody, so he'll be safe.
Safe from what?
From you, Reese.
All right, Spain. Put your cards on the table.
Sure.
This morning, as sheriff of Pagosa, I wrote a letter to the governor explaining a few things about this town and about you. Went out on the noon stage.
What?
Among other things, I mentioned the homestead claim Si and I want to file for title on. Until the governor sends someone down to investigate, I said I'd protect Mitch. Keep him from being forced to file any illegal titles.
I see. And what'd you say about protecting yourself, Spain?
You want to try it, Reese? You want to try it now?
I'd be a fool for that, wouldn't I?
Yes, you would.
You're proud, Spain.
So?
Proud men die as fast as humble ones.
Sure, but they die proud.
You've double-crossed me, Spain.
I don't mind.
You're in trouble, man. I won't ask you for the badge. You're going to die as sheriff. That way I'll destroy your reputation as well as you.
Si, see where he goes.
Right.
Jeff,
Yes, Teal.
I was confused and angry. But I'm trying to understand now.
I'm doing what I have to do. Remember, Teal?
But do you have to sacrifice Mitch? He'll go to prison now.
No, I explained his case to the governor.
But when he finds out the shock of it...
It'd have to come sometime. Now or later.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I've been a coward, haven't I?
You just did what you thought best to protect your brother, that's all.
I'm glad you're here, Jeff Spain. I've been so alone. I'm glad you've come. Except for one thing.
Oh? What's that?
It's made you a gunfighter again.
Yeah. But for better reasons than I had before.
Your ranch.
And you, Teal.
Oh, Jeff.
Ducky's horse headed north. Should we go after him?
No, we'll wait. He'll be back. With help.
A week passes. Spain is the law in Pagosa. The cowboys quickly learn that while there's a broad streak of tolerance in him, he can be cruel in a tight place, and no one makes the final challenge. Often he is with Teal. Rest of the time he's on the street or in the sheriff's office with Si Quill.
He's not a bad fellow, this Mitch. I've been talking to him a lot lately.
Nothing wrong with him that water can't cure. Oh, there's the stage. Take a look, Si.
Now, come here, quick. It's Clay Yeager.
Yeah. I thought he'd gone to Mexico.
Where's Reese? I don't see him.
Hey, wait a minute. Who's that?
I don't know. Wait till he turns around.
That's Kitchen. Mel Kitchen.
Two of them. Jeff, Kitchen is one of the fastest gunmen in the country, isn't he?
Yeah, that's why Reese hired him, I suppose. But I don't understand why Reese isn't here, too.
Well, he isn't. What about these two? What's their game, Jeff?
That's been used before. They'll stay close together. I might kill two ordinary men in the same fight, but not this pair. They know one of them's bound to get me.
And then I'll face him with you.
No, thank you, Si, but this is not your profession.
They'll kill you.
All men die. But all men make mistakes, too.
You're a hard one, Jeff.
Come on, I'll cut you for deal in a little two-handed blackjack.
In the early evening, Spain moves a chair to the porch outside the sheriff's office. He sits there, his back to the wall, waiting. His face is expressionless, but his eyes are incredibly watchful. The word travels fast in Pagosa, and the street is deserted. The air seems tight, waiting to be exploded. Half an hour passes. And then down the middle of Cherokee Street come Clay Yeager and Mel Kitchen, walking slowly, about 5 yards apart. As they draw near, Spain rises from his chair and steps warily to the street, his eyes never leaving the approaching killers. 10 yards away, they stop.
Oh, Spain.
How are you, gentlemen?
You're all through, Spain. Kitchen and I are going to kill you.
I'm not surprised at you, Yeager, but I never thought Kitchen here'd kill for money.
There's no money in this now. It's just for the pleasure.
Oh? Then one of you's taken his pleasure mighty serious.
What do you mean?
I'll die, sure, but one of you's going with me. Have you decided which one it's going to be?
I don't get it, Spain.
No man could kill both of you, but I'm faster than either of you, and I'll kill the first man who goes for his gun. Well, gentlemen, I'm ready. But which one of you is willing to die? You made a mistake not deciding this before now.
You talk a lot, Spain.
You can stop me, Kitchen, but you'll die for it. How about you, Yeager? Do you want it?
Listen, Kitchen. I'll count to 3 and then we'll both draw.
You're a fool, Yeager.
All right, then you're faster than I am. You at least got a chance. You started.
I'm not that fast. If he throws a shot at you first, I can get him. Come on, Yeager. It's the only way.
Perhaps I can help you, gentlemen. I'll make the choice. You know I can kill either one of you any time I decide.
Go on, Kitchen. Don't let him start it.
Shut up. He's just trying to throw us off balance.
Blast you, Kitchen. I won't die for you.
Spain stands there poised and deadly, waiting to strike. The two gunmen have made one mistake, and he's waiting for the split second when they'll make another. And then, in his anger, Clay Yeager turns toward Kitchen. As he does, Spain seems only to shrug his right shoulder and dies on his feet. Yeager whirls and draws, but it misses. And his chest is torn apart by 2 slugs from Spain's gun. He staggers backwards, falls heavily. Spain drops his big Colt into its holster as he steps up to Yeager and kneels by his head.
Clay? Are you dying, Clay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that. Tell me, where's Duke Reese? Why wasn't he with you?
United States Marshal pulled him off the stage at Spring City. Had a warrant.
And that's that.
Yeah. Goodbye, Spain.
At the open window of a room above the lock, Teal Travis stands motionless, staring into the darkness at the far end of Cherokee Street, waiting for a sign that will tell her whether or not her loneliness is over. She stands there until she sees a tall man in a deerskin shirt striding into the light below. At the entrance to the lock, he pauses and looks up and raises his hand to her.
Jeff. Oh, Jeff.
Remember, friends, for refreshment while you work, for enjoyment any time, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. There's lots of lively, real mint flavor in it to cool your mouth, freshen your taste, and sweeten your breath. And chewing Wrigley Spearmint helps keep you fresh and alert. You feel better, work better, get more fun out of doing things. So indoors, outdoors, at work or play, always keep delicious Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum handy. For refreshment while you work, for enjoyment any time, chew a stick of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum.
Romance is produced and directed by Norman McDonnell and brings you the greatest love stories of today and yesterday. Tonight you have heard Pagosa by John Meston, starring Bill Conrad with Georgia Ellis and Will Wright. Featured in the cast were Tony Barrett, Lamont Johnson, Tom Holland, Herb Ellis, and Junius Matthews. The narrator was Bill Johnstone. Musical supervision is by Alexander Courage. Next week, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum, the chewing treat enjoyed by millions, will bring you another story enjoyed by millions. Millard Kaufman's unusual romance, Ulysses. Be sure to listen to Romance next week when the makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum bring you Ulysses. This is the CBS Radio Network.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.